is Kansas, USA. ESPN College Football presented by Miller Lite. A day before the first BCS standings are released, the undefeated #3 ranked Oklahoma Sooners are in town to take on the Kansas Jayhawks in a Big 12 matchup. At the end of a long day of college football, the updated Big 12 standings. Oklahoma State winners in Austin today to go to 3-0 in Big 12 competition. Oklahoma looks to keep pace. Kansas winless so far in the Big 12 in 2011. I'm Carter Blackburn, former All-Pac-10 quarterback at the University of Washington, Brock Heward. There's a reason why there's a #3 next to Oklahoma's name. An excellent football team, and we will likely see a major NCAA record broken by one of the Sooners' best tonight.
And that's Ryan Broyles, a wide receiver, just 4 receptions shy tonight of you watching a national record go down. And a lot of times you hear instincts for a player. Well, what does that mean? Ryan's going to show you for 60 minutes exactly what that looks like. It's understanding the space around you. It's having a feel for man or zone. It's playing 4 years, Carter, and being so productive. He's also been benefited by having a couple good quarterbacks as well.
So with 4 catches tonight, Ryan Broyles will move past the former Purdue wide receiver Taylor Stubblefield for the all-time football Bulls subdivision NCAA record. And as Brock mentioned, a couple of excellent quarterbacks have thrown the football to Ryan Broyles. There was Sam Bradford, and now there's Landry Jones, and there's starting to be some understanding that those guys belong in the same set.
That's exactly right. I think there for a few years when Landry was young and filling in for Sam, everyone didn't want to rush to judgment. No, they're different guys. Sam's a cut above the #1 pick in the draft. Well, I'm here to say that Landry Jones is right there at Sam Bradford's level. He has really matured this season and had the success on the road that he's had throughout his career at home. That, to me, is what stands out. When you can handle adverse situations on the road the way Landry has, well, you become #1 picks in the NFL draft.
So those are the laurels of some of the Oklahoma Sooner playmakers on offense. Now there's the Kansas defense, statistically the worst in major college football. So the question is, how do the Jayhawks hang with Oklahoma tonight?
They got to do 2 things. Offensively, you have to play keep away. Turner Gill wants to run it 65% of the time this evening. They must possess the ball. And then defensively, they've got to hold Oklahoma to field goals. Last week in Stillwater, they couldn't do anything to slow down the Cowboys. 8 consecutive touchdown drives. If Turner Gill and the Jayhawks have any chance tonight, they've got to hold these Sooners to field goals down in the red zone.
KU would love to get some rock chalk Jayhawk magic tonight against Oklahoma. We'll take a sneak peek at the BCS standings next.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Ink, the new business card from Chase. Make your mark with Ink. American Airlines, traveled over 250 cities in 40 countries on American Airlines. And Sprint, all football, no limits, only from Sprint.
Campanile Tower standing proudly here on the campus of KU, as it's known, University of Kansas, one of the great college towns around the country. It's been a beautiful day, turning into a lovely fall evening. And with the BCS standings coming out tomorrow, we take a look at the projected BCS standings brought to you by Discover Card. So this is from ESPN's Brad Edwards. This was going into action today. And Brock, I guess if you're one of those fans of Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma State, anybody on that list, what are you looking for from Oklahoma tonight as far as evaluation as to who's going to move up and down?
Alabama and LSU are #1 and 2 on that list because they've won the national championship, that SEC conference, 5 times. They've done it defensively, in my opinion, with front sevens that are bigger and faster and stronger than the competition. And I'm here to tell you, you just took a look at Travis Lewis. There's Frank Alexander. This front 7 for Oklahoma is SEC-esque. They're big in their front 4, 300 plus, and these linebackers can fly sideline to sideline. To me, that's what Bob Stoops' team has differently than I think the rest in the Big 12. And if you're an SEC fan, I think this is going to be some competition when you get to national title games.
Sooners have won 10 straight, second only to Stanford, including the big one last week in Dallas against the University of Texas. OU won the toss, elected to receive. So this is Whaley across the 35 to the 37. Excellent field position to start. Our Chick-fil-A impact players when OU has the ball.
This system in Oklahoma, it starts with the quarterback, and Landry's playing so fast. What will stand out to you this evening is how sound he is fundamentally. He also has some tremendous weapons outside, including Ryan Broyles. We highlighted his feel and his instincts in the open. He also has tremendous hands. Tobin Operum, the captain, defensive rush hand for Kansas. He's by far their most dynamic playmaker, a converted running back. In fact, the Hawks' leading rusher 2 years ago.
Ryan Broyles is to the top of your screen, lined up in the slot, where he'll be for OU most of the night. Jones flings it incomplete to Kenny Stills on first down. Looks like he slipped. He says, my bad. 2nd and 10.
Keep an eye on the Jayhawks. Vic Shealy, the defensive coordinator, realizes their weaknesses. He wants to keep everything in front of him. Expect to see a lot of soft cushions. They're willing to give up those quick hitches to avoid the explosive plays.
Jones throwing incomplete on 2nd down to Kenny Stills. So 3rd and 10 coming up. And for a Kansas defense, statistically last in all of the major categories in college football, 70 points given up a week ago to Oklahoma State. Exactly where they want to be, forcing Oklahoma to 3rd and 10 on the first time out there for the KU defense.
3 and out would go a long way for this defense. It would also go a long way for this fan base watching tonight.
On 3rd and 10, Jones incomplete to Broyles, and there's a 3 and out. Just as we talked about, Brock, here's OU with all the weapons. Jones, Broyles, and the rest. The KU defense, all the numbers say worst in the country, but a 3 and out to start.
A lot tighter coverage there by Kansas. Remember, it was a week ago against Oklahoma State. This defense gave up 8 consecutive drives for touchdown. That's the way you want to start if you're a Jayhawk.
Tress Way hits it away. DJ Bashir's backing all the way up to the 7 to take it. Bashir's going the opposite direction, dancing along the goal line. Manages to slip out of a tackle and get back to the 10. Chick-fil-A impact players now for the Jayhawks.
Jordan Webb at quarterback's undersized, but been very efficient this season. Top 10 in the FBS. Told us yesterday he's got to weather the storm. He knows the rush is coming from Oklahoma, led by Frank Alexander. For a big man, watch the get off at the line of scrimmage. It's why he has 5.5 sacks this season. Maybe my favorite player in all of college football, Travis Lewis. Relentless in everything he does, both on and off the field.
At OU defense, 8 sacks, 3 defensive touchdowns a week ago at the Cotton Bowl against Texas. Gene Sims running on first down to make it 2nd and 5. So what do we expect out of Kansas offensively tonight? A
lot of that. They know that they can't run sideline to sideline with the Sooners. They also know their entire offensive line, led by their center. Jeremiah Hatch has 40 career starts. The strength's going to be running right at Oklahoma.
Jordan Webb, the sophomore quarterback, throwing on 2nd down, complete to the true freshman, Ja'Cory Shepard, who is wrestled down by DeMontre Hurst to make it 3rd down and short for the Jayhawks.
It's a fine line that Chuck Long, offensive coordinator's walking this evening. He's a guy that likes up-tempo. Remember, he coached at Oklahoma, coached that team to a national championship. He also knows this defense has got to stay off the field. So watch the mix of tempo and pace with also controlling the clock and trying to eat up that time of possession.
On 3rd and 3, Webb pressured. Webb will talk it and scramble short of the first down by about a yard. Ronell Lewis, the junior defensive end, makes the stop to force 4th down and at least 1.
Alexander 84, Lewis 56. Those two guys, those two rush ends, they've combined for 9 sacks this season. 9 sacks. That's more than 34 FBS teams, including these Kansas Jayhawks, that just have 6 as an entire defensive unit.
Doherty will punt. Ryan Broyles, explosive in the return game as well, awaits. Takes it from the 32. Broyles turns the corner. Broyles has downfield blocking. into Kansas territory. Ryan Broyles goes rolling to the 35. So the first big play for Ryan Broyles comes not in the pass game, but in the punt return game all the way to the 35 before Tanner Gibbs finally makes a stop.
One of the challenges that Turner Gill has in rebuilding this Kansas team is they're limited defensively. The stats show that. When you get into these special teams, you've got even backups to defensive players in there, and you just don't see the tackling, the dynamic athleticism. You may want to kick away from Ryan Broyles the rest of the evening.
Good block from Trey Franks, 33-yard return for Broyles. Jones handing off on first down to Dominique Whaley, the walk-on junior from Lawton, Oklahoma, who's wrestled down by Darius Willis, one of the most incredible stories in all of college football, detailed by Sports Illustrated this past week on his odd career path through NAIA Langston University to the Subway restaurant down the street from Oklahoma Memorial Stadium to now the starting running back for the nation's third-ranked team. Jones on second down, incomplete. Landry Jones has started 0 for 4.
Kansas do a nice job defensively of presenting some different looks to Landry Jones, moving in and out of coverage. Vic Shealy, yesterday defensive coordinator, was very frank with us, said, hey, we can't just line up against Oklahoma. We've got to blur the image for Landry Jones. Off to a good start so far. Just look at the movement. The guy's wandering around defensively.
Landry Jones on third down, over the middle, caught by Kenny Stills. Moving the chains, and you see why it's not just Ryan Broyles, a great group of receivers for OU.
Kenny Stills is pretty gifted outside. Watch the speed move inside. You know what I really like? See how he keeps that route flat. So many receivers will drift in that in cut, allow that safety to cut up underneath it. Kenny Stills keeps it flat. Big third down conversion.
First time for Oklahoma inside the KU 20. Big goal for the Jayhawks. Field goals rather than touchdowns. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Kenny Stills makes the grab, so after Landry Jones starts 0 for 4, back-to-back completions to Kenny Stills for a first down, and now an OU touchdown.
So it makes containing Oklahoma so very difficult. You see Broyles, they have the tight end Hannah inside, and Kenny Stills missed the first couple games. One a suspension, one an injury, and all he's done since he's been back the last 3 is catch touchdown passes, continue to highlight that Mohawk, and get inside of those DBs to give Landry Jones that ideal target to hit.
Michael Honeycutt for the PAT. 7-0 start for Oklahoma. So after a 3 and out for Landry Jones in the OU offense, Boomer Sooners shows up in Lawrence. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Kansas defense, it ranks at the bottom. All the major defensive categories, 3 and out to begin against OU, and then another of those quick strike touchdown drives.
Turner Gill, behavior analysis major back in the day, said my offense and special teams have seen enough positive images we can build on. Defensively, we've got to start putting some things together.
That was an interesting discussion after he talked about, yeah, we got something good, especially on defense. Those guys are going to see it over and over. That's a Bill Harris kick taken by Bashir's inside the 5. Bashir's around the corner at the 20 as we check in with Wendy Nix.
I thought you were pushing the other direction. No problem.
Carter, thank you very much. A look at what's going on around our ESPN networks. Over on ESPN, Auburn and Florida, a 1-point game at the end of the third quarter. And on ESPNU, Maryland has surprised undefeated Clemson. They lead 38-33, 3 minutes left in the third quarter as well.
Maryland leading Clemson. What do you think, Brock?
Well, we've seen a few upsets today. Michigan goes down, Georgia Tech goes down, Clemson's climbed all the way up. So we showed Brad Edwards' projected rankings. I was surprised to see that much offense from Maryland.
Gene Sims gets it on first down. Correction, it's Pearson who gets it on first down. Goes sprinting across the 35 And that's the package for the speedy and talented Tony Pearson.
Kansas's strength is this group up front. That's where all their experience comes from. They like to pull and kick guys around, and Pearson by far the fastest Jayhawk, just a true freshman. Chuck Long said, I've got a package of about 5 plays to utilize that speed.
First down give goes to Darian Miller, the true freshman from Blue Springs, Missouri.
Spikes the left tackle, redshirt senior, 28 starts. Hatch the center, 40 starts. Marangelli left guard, 11 consecutive. A very physical, experienced group has got to give Webb some time and get some push in their run game.
Play action, Webb swings it out to the right side, complete to Ja'Cory Shepherd, who stays in bounds, and a nice play by Aaron Colvin, a strong safety who wears number 12 tonight for Oklahoma. This is now the Oklahoma defensive tradition. In memory of Austin Box, where every game a different member of the OU defense will wear his number 12. Austin Box, the linebacker who passed away last May. So Aaron Coleman, the sophomore, strong safety, wears number 12 tonight. He is usually 14. Kansas facing 3rd down and 5. Webb inside give. Miller fights for a Kansas first down as the Jayhawks get creative on 3rd and 5.
We've seen Sims, Miller, Pearson, a whole stable of very young backs. It's the one thing that Turner Gill feels very good about his team. I said to you earlier, there's some positive images to take offensively. This is a top 20 run game in the FBS, and he likes his stable of very diverse running backs.
Webb and KU to that Jayhawk at center field. Complete on 1st down.
Smart play. You run a couple bubble screens. What's the play that comes off of it? The fake bubble screen and pump. Problem is Bob Stoops' teams defensively are so sound. They see this scheme. A lot of these principles that Chuck Long ran at Oklahoma, Brent Venables very familiar with. And the other thing that will jump out to you with Oklahoma, the amount of speed on the back end. They've sacrificed size at safety and linebacker to be an even faster group defensively.
Sims back in as running back for 2nd down and 10. Right, the sophomore QB from Union, Missouri. Rolling on 2nd down. Room to run, and Webb will scramble out of bounds near the 50. Tom Wirt forces him out of bounds. And Webb walking slowly back towards the field. Keep an eye on Jordan Webb and that leg that looks a little bit gimpy walking back. 3rd down and 7. Webb throwing incomplete.
And that's unfortunate. That offensive line that I told you is very experienced. If you remember watching the Red River rivalry a week ago, Texas just got pounded. Their quarterback's taking a beating with 8 sacks. Little line game there from the front 4. That group up front picked it all up. That's a pitch and catch you got to complete.
Royals had a 33-yard return, his first punt return opportunity of the night. This one inside the 20. No opportunity for Broyles to run that one back. Landry Jones and the Oklahoma offense get the football when we come back to Lawrence.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. And in part by Chrysler, imported from Detroit.
Yes, indeed, basketball is around the corner around here in Lawrence, Kansas, and a few folks are paying attention to basketball in Lawrence, Kansas, as always. That's Tyshawn Taylor and Thomas Robinson who are going to have to step up and play big roles this year for Big Self's Jayhawks as they go for an 8th straight conference championship, and they'd like to add another trophy to that win in the Booth Family Hall of Athletics. They last won it in 2008. Landry Jones, Ryan Broyles, and the Oklahoma offense back on the field. And Dominique Whaley goes spinning across the 20 for an OU first down.
That's what makes college football special, is when you can have a walk-on like this kid come in, so gifted athletically. Just watch his burst this evening.
Second and short coming. Let's check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you very much. It's a Taco Bell studio update as we head west. Stanford and Washington State. Stanford with a 10-7 lead here. Andrew Luck to Levine Toilolo. And it's a 17-7 ball game, 5 to play in the third quarter.
I'll keep you posted on that and all the other games throughout the night here in Lawrence, Kansas. #3 ranked Oklahoma with the BCS standings coming out tomorrow. Where will the Sooners be in that first BCS ranking?
Offside, defense number 97. The penalty will be 5 yards and results in a first down.
And when you're undersized and outmanned, you've got to use slants, twists, stunts, lots of movement. I talked to you about the movement they're trying to create in the secondary to confuse Landry Jones. It's the same philosophy within your front seven. When you can't just line up and take people on, Turner Gill says we've got to get movement, we've got to anticipate, and sometimes that will lead to offside penalties.
Giving OU first and 10. Jones, a rare scramble from Landry Jones. Usually sticks to the pocket, but Jones scrambling for a 5-yard gain.
Well, that's why he's been sacked just 3 times this year. I think of any statistic I've seen, not only his maturation and handling road adversity, understanding that clock in your head, which is so critical to quarterbacks, and especially when Landry takes snaps at the next level, to be sacked just 3 times within this scheme, and as much as they throw it, that's impressive.
Ryan Broyles lined up at the bottom of your screen for 2nd and 5. Number 85 for Oklahoma. Jones looks that way. Broyles makes his first catch of the night across the 50, so he's now 3 catches away from the career NCAA mark.
A lot like Brandon Whedon a week ago for Kansas. When you blitz Oklahoma, you leave one-on-one situations, and Whedon, exactly like Landry Jones, will get that ball out of the hands to all of these playmakers. When you have a slot and a flanker and a split end that can all do damage, it makes it awfully difficult to try to call signals defensively.
Oklahoma crosses the Kansas 50. Whaley met at the line on first down. There's Tobin Oporum, the buck end player for the Kansas Jayhawks on the stop, along with Richard Johnson Jr. Amazingly, as you pointed out, Brock, as a running back, led the team in rushing yards 2 years ago as a freshman, over 500 rushing yards. And now he's one of the key players for Kansas defensively. Jones pumps, throwing on 2nd and 9, incomplete. Broyles couldn't get the football secured. Lubbock Smith there in coverage. And here's 3rd and 9 coming up again for Oklahoma.
Well, credit Kansas right there. You saw Landry Jones. He wanted to go to his quick hitter. They took his #1 option away. If you're going to have a chance against Bob Stoops' team, and Landry Jones, who holds 12 school records, you better make him reset a couple times. You better make him move his feet. You better not allow him to get into complete rhythm.
Kansas has backed Oklahoma into another 3rd and long. Jones stands in the pocket, looks to Broyles, who makes the grab inside the Kansas 20.
This is where this kid's really, really good, both of them. Both Ryan Broyles understanding how to leverage his body within the seam. This is just your 2 deep coverage. Your nickel defender trying to run with Ryan Broyles. We saw Landry Jones twice last season at home. And how many times did we see those pinpoint seam passes? He is at his best between the hashes.
Broyles again in the slot to the left of Landry Jones. Top of your screen. Jones batted away and nearly picked. It was intended for Trey Franks. Steven Johnson, the senior former walk-on from Media, Pennsylvania, nearly got a big pick in the red zone.
You asked me in the open, how does Kansas keep this close? You must hold Oklahoma to field goal, something they didn't do the first trip to the red zone, something that Oklahoma's only scored 59% of the time this year in the red zone. Plays like that may force those field goals.
Jones hands off on 2nd and 10. Rarely dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Bradley McDougal. The strong safety makes it 3rd down and long again.
And for the psyche of your football team, this 3rd down is so very critical. A little bit more want to tonight from the Jayhawks. Maybe a little bit of confidence that they can actually make some plays against Oklahoma. McDougal, their most talented athlete on the back end.
But can Kansas make the play on 3rd and long? Jones throws incomplete. Kansas forces a field goal attempt.
Looks like they were trying to set up the screen pass. Josh Heupel and Bob Stoops thinking they were going to get that soft zone coverage. That's exactly what they got. But credit Kansas's group up front. D-line linebackers felt that screen, sniffed it out, did exactly what they had to do. Hold the Sooners to field goal opportunities.
Touchdown first time in the red zone for Oklahoma. Now a 36-yard field goal attempt coming from Michael Honeycutt, a lifelong Oklahoma fan, now getting a chance to kick for the Sooners. 36-yarder is good. So 10 points on the board for Oklahoma, but the Kansas defense checks it off. Mission accomplished. Bob Stoops' team 3 points rather than 7. In Lawrence, Kansas, the Oklahoma Sooners are in town. A number 3 next to Oklahoma's name right now. But the big question is when the first BCS standings are released, less than 24 hours from now on ESPN, where will Oklahoma be? BCS Countdown presented by Discover, ESPN Sunday, 8:15 Eastern, continuing on ESPNU 9 Eastern. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because there's a number 3 next to Oklahoma. That's the AP poll. AP does not go into the BCS standings. USA Today coaches poll, Harris Interactive, average of the 6 computer rankings, and then we go from there. But when Hal spits out the numbers tomorrow night, we will have them for you on ESPN, less than 24 hours away. The Shears knocked out of the 19. We check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you. A Dr. Pepper Conference 10 update. Kansas State has lost its last 5 meetings with Texas Tech. Colin Klein here on the carry. A rush for 2 and a touchdown. Kansas State takes a 34-31 lead. The 4th quarter just underway. Back to Lauren.
We saw Kansas State last week against Missouri. How dangerous do you think the Wildcats are in the Big 12?
Well, that's a huge game for Bill Snyder's Kansas State team. They get that one down in Lubbock. They host Kansas next week. And then guess who comes to Manhattan? This Oklahoma team in a couple weeks.
That could be a big one in the Little Apple. Webb throwing incomplete. And just a reminder that there is no Big 12 championship game this year. So in years past, we'd be talking about Big 12 North versus Big 12 South. 10 teams right now in the Big 12. No championship game. Bill was a great quarterback at Nebraska when he was the Big 8. Great quarterback. On 2nd down, Miller breaks to the 2nd level to the 35. That's what offensive coordinator Chuck Long said Kansas needed to do against the OU defense.
Have you noticed in this run game when they've had success, it's really been between those A gaps right at Oklahoma. You can't run laterally against these guys. Yeah, you may mix it up at times, but if you're going to have success this evening, more than likely with a big physical veteran group, it's going to be pushing that pile right between the tackles.
16-yard pickup there for Miller, 1st and 10. Pearson takes it. short gain. Travis Lewis, the senior linebacker from San Antonio, makes the stop. You said he's just about your favorite guy in college football to watch.
When you're a team's leading tackler for 3 consecutive years, and you did as a freshman and took away and beat up Brian Bosworth's record, the fact that he broke his toe, still playing through that injury, was to be a 6 to 8 week injury. He missed 1 game, playing through that with an orthotic, and just the vocal leader. And I loved what Aaron Colvin said about Travis Lewis. He said he's the guy that will criticize when no one else will, and you can do that when you've been as productive as you've been in your career.
Miller on the carry, making it 3rd and about 6 coming up for Kansas. As Brent Venables said, you know, there's a lot of good numbers out there for Travis Lewis and a lot of honors for him, but the fact that he's wearing an orthotic and battling the injury and just still rolling right through it and leading the Oklahoma defense. Miller in, running back on 3rd and 6. Webb sets up the screen. Darian Miller stood up, wrapped up. Javon Harris, the junior free safety from Lawton, makes it 4th and about a yard.
And when you've got the 120th ranked defense in America, and I know it's early in the game, in the first half, and first quarter and everything else at your own 43, but 4th and 1 with some of the strength that you've got between your guards and center, wouldn't surprise me at all if Turner Gill goes for this.
Injured Jayhawk on the field is the senior center, Jeremiah Hatch.
The redshirt senior captain with 40 career starts under his belt.
ESPN's Monday Night Football matches the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, who've lost 3 in a row, needing another one of those Jets comebacks this year. Kickoff 8:30, coverage begins 7 o'clock with NFL Countdown served by Applebee's. That tells you that those two teams need a win on Monday night.
And you had Buffalo, right? We talked about that before the year. You thought for sure they were on the rise.
Yeah, I told you, Bills are the team. Bills in the Super Bowl. Well, unfortunately, here in Lawrence, Kansas, Jeremiah Hatch, the senior center from Dallas Carter High School, still down on the field, the veteran leader of the Kansas offensive line, and what you never want to see.
No, and unfortunately, when you see all the personnel around the veteran Captain Hatch, and now actually the gurney coming on the field, you know, it's a head or neck injury, not to speculate, but when they take this much care and you see him as immobilized as he's been, you're going to be very, very careful with those kind of injuries.
And if we get any update throughout the night on Jeremiah Hatch, we will pass that along to you. A little incidental contact perhaps with the running back Darian Miller. And so a scary moment here at Memorial Stadium in Lawrence.
And Jeremiah has really been the ringleader of that crew up front. He's made starts in his career, right tackle, left tackle. You look at Turner's team right now, Coach Gill, he's had to move guys all over the place. The number of receivers that are playing defense. We talked about Opurum already. This team's leading rusher 2 years ago. Now he's their rush end. Turner Gill is trying to do this from within and with youngsters. He's not gone the junior college route. He's trying to do it with young kids that he's recruiting, and freshmen and sophomores, really building this program up. Certainly taking their lumps right now, and this would be a significant loss, as we've already seen some really good push in that interior run game. A lot of it right behind big Jeremiah Hatch.
And while the training staff continues to tend to Jeremiah Hatch, we check in with Wendy Nix.
Okay. Carter, thank you very much. Clemson having all kinds of trouble with Maryland tonight. The Tigers trailed by 18 on 2 different occasions, but Taj Boyd here to Deron Brown, and Clemson taking its first lead 42-38 in the 4th quarter. Stanford and Washington State, Andrew Luck complete again to Levine Toilolo, their 2nd connection of the night, and the Cardinal leading Washington State 24-7 at the end of the 3rd quarter.
2 undefeated teams on the comeback trail. Here it's 10-0 Oklahoma on Kansas, but the game has come to a stop as the senior center for the Jayhawks, Jeremiah Hatch, is still down on the field here at Memorial Stadium. If we get any update at all about Jeremiah Hatch health status, we will pass that along to you. Trevor Marangelli, the junior left guard, will move to center when Kansas retakes the field.
And Chuck Long with us yesterday was really praising this group up front. The redshirt juniors and seniors that have all been together. All 5 of these linemen have started every game this year. Frankly, that's why they're a top 20 running game right now. And now with the loss of Hatch, it's really going to create some movement for Chuck Long. They're going to slide their left guard Marangelli over to center. There's going to be some moving pieces. So really for the first time this season, that Kansas group up front is going to have to deal with some new roles and some instability. And that's not what you're looking for when you're facing this Oklahoma group and this Oklahoma front 7.
That's Chuck Long on the left side of your screen there. And Chuck Long, who had a great run as offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, then head coach at San Diego State, and a college teammate of Bob Stoops. So some good catching up on the field between those Hawkeyes, former Hawkeyes.
And both Chuck and Turner like the progress this offensive group has made. They didn't hide any of that. In fact, he said we're probably ahead of schedule, to be honest with you, with where we thought we would be with as many freshman running backs and freshman receivers and playmakers that we've brought in here and really trying to install our system. And a loss like this of one of your key veterans, one of your captains, it's going to be a real challenge now for Chuck and his young offensive group to overcome.
And up until this point, that's been one of the bright spots for Kansas, was that they didn't have to deal with any shuffling on the offensive line. And yet Jeremiah Hatch, the senior center, will exit this game in the way that you don't want to exit the game.
You know, having suffered a few concussions in my life, by no means am I a doctor or an expert, but anytime you get that contact from the side of your head, that's where you have such little protection. And you can take some vicious shots under your chin, the back of your head hitting the ground, but anytime you see the side shot, as you see there from Hatch, delivered on to Hatch, and really the immobilization that we have seen from the very beginning of this injury, as this training staff has been very, very careful as they're getting ready to get Hatch on the cart and certainly to the hospital for his evaluation.
And again, if we have any update at all on Jeremiah Hatch at any point tonight, we're going to pass that along to you immediately.
Now the question becomes, at 4th and 1, Carter, does this dictate maybe punting the football after you've been sitting here for a significant amount of time? You lose your center, maybe the thought of that interior run game and a quarterback sneak, with a coach that's trying to find a spark, some positive to build around, and in a group that he knows defensively is taking some severe baby steps and taking a beating this season, last in college football. Decision time here on a 4th and 1 situation without your leader, without your captain, without your center now in the ball game.
So a very scary moment here as Jeremiah Hatch, the senior center for Kansas, is carted off the field. Brock, you've dealt with it. Every football player's dealt with it when you have a major injury and you're on that sideline concerned about your teammate, and yet now the game must go on. And Kansas brings the offensive unit back out for a 4th and 1.
And I think the right decision here from Turner Gill.
Webb bobbles, tosses at the last moment for a first down. James Sims breaks free, and on 4th down, James Sims will take it for a touchdown. 56-yard touchdown run for James Sims on 4th down and 1.
And that's exactly how it was drawn up. Or maybe not.
So a new center, Maringelli, and he bobbles. Bad snap on the first play.
An old ball coach told me one time, in fact my father, adapt, overcome, and improvise. That play is completely dead. Jordan Webb kept his cool, found his playmaker Sims, and brought a little energy into the stadium.
We said before this game kicked off it was going to take a little rock chalk Jayhawk magic in the air in Lawrence. There it is on 4th and 1. James Sims' previous long rush in his career was 30 yards. That scamper goes for 56.
And how many times do you see on punt returns, kickoff cover, where the play gets botched in the timing? And look at the Oklahoma Sooners, just got a little flat-footed there. Everybody's standing around wondering what in the world is going on. And really credit Jordan Webb there for not panicking. Many times quarterbacks will close their eyes, try to run up there on 4th and 1 right in the backs of the linemen. He realized he had an open outlet there, and Sims showed some of his playmaking to Venables' disgust.
Talk about an emotional swing. One of the senior leaders of this Kansas team down on the field. Turner Gill says we're going for it on 4th down. A total botched play turns into a 56-yard touchdown run. And now Whaley bobbles the kickoff, has to recover, and Whaley's down at the 10. Momentum swinging in Lawrence as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you so much. We check in with Kansas State and Texas Tech. 34-31 here. Colin Klein rushes it in for the 1-yard touchdown. It's now a 10-point game, 41-31.
Here in Lawrence, Kansas, 10-7, Oklahoma on KU. That is the Kansas center Jeremiah Hatch, who is just now being lifted into the ambulance on the track here at Memorial Stadium. And we repeat again, if we get any update whatsoever tonight on the status of Jeremiah Hatch, we will pass it along to you. Oklahoma Sooner football. Landry Jones under center. He has to take a timeout as the play clock was winding down on 1st down.
This timeout will be for
Can the
30 seconds.
Jayhawks capitalize on a momentum swing and a little bit of luck against 3rd-ranked undefeated Oklahoma?
When you're playing a team that's more athletic than you, that's stronger and bigger and faster and dominated all the statistics in your conference, sometimes it takes a little luck. Takes a little fluke play there to energize the crowd. I guarantee you in some of those upsets through the years, you saw plays, well, maybe not quite to the extent that we just witnessed on 4th and 1. But plenty of times where you got to capitalize on your opportunities.
Oh, and do they remember that 84 win around here big time? Amazingly, the last time that these two teams got together in Lawrence, 2009, it was unranked Oklahoma winning over 25th ranked Kansas. Just 2 years ago. Seems like a long time if you're a Jayhawk football fan. Roy Finch gets the carry on 1st down, trying to spin away near a 1st down before McDougal finally makes a stop.
And I like that call. Get back to your strength if you're Oklahoma. Run right at them. And that's Roy Finch at 165 pounds. Running right through middle linebacker Darius Willis.
to make it 2nd and short. Finch still in the backfield behind Jones. Landry Jones hands off to Finch. Moves the chains. Another tough run for Roy Finch to the 30. The sophomore from Florida, who a year ago appeared to be the next great Oklahoma back. Well, Dominique Whaley, the walk-on, ends up as the Oklahoma running back. Now it's how does Roy Finch and the rest of those other Oklahoma backs respond? That's tough running from Finch there. Timeout Kansas before that play.
The first timeout called by Kansas in the first half. This timeout will be for 30 seconds.
Oklahoma tries to regain the momentum in Lawrence with Landry Jones and the Sooners on offense. Landry Jones started this game 0 for 4 passing for OU.
And right now, just 4 of 11 on the night. And give Kansas a little bit of credit for taking away his first read. And Landry, uncharacteristically inaccurate tonight. Jayhawks presenting some problems to the Heisman hopeful.
Out of a Kansas timeout, Jayhawks bring pressure and a good job of tackling in space there against Jazz Reynolds. Anthony Davis on the stop. Finch gets it on 2nd and 5. Fighting to move the chains across the 40-yard line. Willis and Johnson there on the stop.
When you play a 3-4 scheme, which is what Kansas employs, you got to count on those 3 down linemen to try to hold on to those blockers, and these linebackers got to do a much better job of scraping and making tackles.
Jones play action on 1st down. Landry Jones down the seam, incomplete. Kenny Stills got one hand on it, couldn't get the second. Anthony Davis again in coverage.
Add that to just the list we looked at, where a foot off, a yard off. Uncharacteristic for Landry, completing 69% of his passes. I think Stills may have had the opportunity to lay out with 2 hands there. He's trying to catch that with a little catch and run action.
Whaley back in at tailback with 2nd and 10. Jones pumps, hits Whaley out of the backfield, knocked out. To make it 3rd down, Steven Johnson, the weak side linebacker there on the stop.
You know, there's something to be said with human nature as well. And you watch the game film from last week where Oklahoma State just had their way. 8 consecutive touchdown drives, pitch and catch, 7-on-7. Kansas a little better at home than they are on the road.
Jones pass incomplete. McDougal had a beat on that one too, as Landry Jones staring down a little bit.
Well, Turner Gill was looking for positive images to replay to his defenders. I said earlier, behavior analysis major there in college, really believes in visualization and showing his group play after play after play. When they do well, when they make the play, he's not had many of those looks through the first 5 games this year defensively. Well, this first quarter, he's got something to work with.
Tessway's punt fielded inside the 15 by McDougal, who's wrestled down after a short return to the 19. So the Jayhawks a touchdown. Last offensive possession for Jordan Webb and the offense. Defense has done its job against Oklahoma. Only 1 touchdown in this first quarter after being trampled last week by the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
And if you're Jordan Webb in that huddle, everyone just take a breath. Take a look at the scoreboard. We got a minute to go in this first quarter. It's 10-7. Momentum's on our side. Just execute the simple details here.
On 1st down, Darian Miller, the true freshman from Blue Springs, Missouri. Of a positive gain, over 6,500 rushing yards in his high school career. Missouri big high school record.
Gatorade Player of the Year out of the state of Missouri.
2nd down and short to 35 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Miller gets it again. 1st down and more. Bouncing away from the OU tacklers. Finally wrestled down at the 49 by Ronell Lewis.
I'll tell you who's not bringing it right now. This Oklahoma front four defensively dominated the Longhorns a week ago, and if there's any group on any side of the ball that has to bring the energy, it's those defensive linemen, and right now they are not getting off their blocks. That Kansas offensive line is having their way with the front four.
15 seconds, 14 seconds left in the first quarter. Flag on the play. Webb throws. It is intercepted by Harris. Oklahoma football. There is a flag on the play with 6 seconds left in the first quarter.
Pass was intercepted by number 30, Harris.
Offside, number 7 of the defense. The penalty will be 5 yards from the previous spot. Remains first down.
Negating the interception.
And Jordan Webb dodged a major bullet. I said to you, when you come out of that huddle, just execute the little details. Very fortunate. I guess Oklahoma in the neutral zone, when it is cloudy and you've got a defender like Frank Alexander in your face, that ball's got to be sailed out of bounds, especially on first down.
Instead of the 10th interception of the year by the OU defense, Kansas keeps the football right at the Jayhawk at midfield with 6 seconds left in the first. There's another flag.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 74 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Giveth and taketh away.
And take a look at what Oklahoma has done defensively. You'll be curious to see if Brett Venables stays in this 3-down front. Very effective a week ago with their 4-down linemen because of what Kansas likes to do in this spread, in the shotgun. It's played a lot of this 3-down today. Corey Nelson out there on the edge. We'll see what kind of adjustments Oklahoma makes to this run game.
Miller's short gain on the last play of the first quarter. So a week ago, it was Oklahoma State all over Kansas at this point. Third-ranked Oklahoma locked in a tight one for now. That's Kansas basketball coach Bill Self. Barry Hinson there in the glasses, the director of basketball operations. Did a nice job coaching Missouri State a few years back. Bill Self rode the motorcycle into late night at the Fog last night with Rocky. I think I'm going to leave it up to you to describe the outfit Coach Self wore. He had to explain, I'm not a wannabe member of the Village People. All black leather, riding in on a custom KU Jayhawk Harley.
Well, I'm not going to say it's been all KU through the first 15 minutes, but this is about as good as Turner Gill could have expected. They've run it to some success. 4th and 1. Yeah, maybe got a little lucky on a broken play. They've had some stops defensively. Landry Jones is a little bit out of sorts for Oklahoma. And Jordan Webb here with a big 3rd down conversion to keep this momentum moving forward.
Low snap again. Webb controlled, batted away, and incomplete. Frank Alexander applying some pressure there on Jordan Webb. It was R.J. Washington who appeared to get a hand on.
I think Kansas a little generous with Jordan. Meeting him yesterday, listening to him at 6 foot. He's probably about 5'11". I don't know if there's a team in college football better than Oklahoma getting their hands up. It's exactly what Chuck Long was fearful of, the number of tip passes. Where then they allow those playmakers to create 15 takeaways as the Sooners have done this season.
Alexander and Washington both get a hand on that one. Hands us down to the punt inside the 20. The Sunday NFL Countdown is now just hours away. Presented by IBM, Sunday 10 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Surprisingly big 49ers-Lions matchup tomorrow on the NFL docket. Boomer and the guys will be getting you set.
How about Philadelphia and the Dream Team sitting at 1-4? going to Washington. Can you imagine they fall to 1-5 with all that talent?
What's the deal? What's the deal?
Football is still a team game. It's not just about assembling as much talent as you can.
Landry Jones giving it to Dominique Whaley. How about this Kansas defense? I mean, Brock, punchline is pretty much how you would describe the Kansas defense. I mean, even KU fans just...
They're playing hard tonight, and you would expect that at home after being embarrassed a week ago. There's pride in this group, and Turner said, hey, we still have hope because I see fight in my guys day in and day out at practice.
Whaley gets it again on second down. Fumbles the football. Waiting for a signal. KU football. Just the third takeaway of the season by the Kansas defense. Victor Simmons comes away with the football. And the eternally optimistic Turner Gill has reason to praise the KU defense with their effort in the first half against Oklahoma. Victor Simmons rips it away and recovers. So through the first 5 games of the season, only 2 takeaways, fewest in the nation. And as it stands right now, takeaway by Simmons and the Kansas defense.
Well, you want to get takeaways. You better get helmets around the football, and you better teach the fundamentals. And when a guy is up and a skill position player, you rip that football out. That's just great technique. You've got 3 Jayhawks. And I think Simmons clearly rips that ball out before Whaley's on the ground. In any part of Whaley's on the ground.
And that's the key phrase, Brock, as you said. Most oftentimes they're looking for a knee, but the rule book says when any part of the ball carrier's body except his hand or foot touches the ground.
Ooh, and that is awfully, actually, that's a good look at it there. Is that left knee down? The challenge here is Whaley's really hiding what's happening in the action behind when that ball's out.
The play stands as called. First down.
Play stands is called, which is different from confirmed. So basically they took a look and said, we can't tell from that video evidence, so therefore the play stands is called, and it is a big one for Kansas. Just the 3rd takeaway by the Kansas defense. Now can the Jayhawks get it in the end zone to take an improbable first half lead against 3rd-ranked undefeated Oklahoma. Webb from the shotgun gives to James Sims to the 21.
And I like that first down call. Chuck Long said it's amazing when you look at the tape of Oklahoma how many times their 2nd and extra long shows up on film. 3 times more than 2nd and medium or 2nd and short, because teams try to throw and get greedy on first down. Just take what's there, put yourself into much more manageable 2nd and 3rd down situations.
Undefeated Oklahoma getting a first half test from Kansas. Sims stood up, making it 3rd down and 6. A Kansas team who a week ago gave up 70 points to Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys had pulled most of the starters in the first half. So that game was over really before halftime. And yet here this one is in 10-7 with the clock rolling in the early 2nd quarter. Lewis gets the handoff on 3rd and 7, trying to fight for as many yards as he can, but 4th down coming. And about a 35-yard attempt coming from the freshman kicker, Alex Mueller.
Which would be a career long. Right now, just 2 of 5 on the season, makes it 27 and 28. He's actually missed from 36, 42, and 49, so this would set a new benchmark for the true freshman.
Officially 36-yard attempt. Alex Mueller's 36-yard field goal is good. And with 11:47, 46. Remaining in the second quarter in Lawrence, third-ranked undefeated Oklahoma 10. Kansas 0-2 in the Big 12. Tie. In the second quarter in Lawrence, Kansas, undefeated. Third-ranked Oklahoma locked in a tight one with the Jayhawks, 10-10 as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championships. There's some good games going on around the country, and early in the second quarter, we have a good one going in Lawrence, Kansas. Even 10-10 as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you very much. We check in with Clemson and Maryland, and the scoring just won't stop. Clemson trailed by 18 on 2 separate occasions. Andre Ellington, though, a career night, over 200 yards. 44 yards for the touchdown. This game over on ESPNU, and Clemson has stormed back to take the lead 56-45, and it's a final. Auburn over Florida 17-6. Carter?
So Clemson, one of those undefeated teams in trouble late Saturday night. Third-ranked Oklahoma. Long way to go here in Lawrence. Whaley gets the handoff on first down. Gain of 5. Patman on the stop. Undefeated no more. Michigan, Georgia Tech, and Illinois now on that list.
That wind really wreaked havoc upon Michigan and Illinois offensively. Give some real credit to Mike London there at Virginia, building his program much like Turner Gill's second year there. That's a huge win for the Cavaliers.
Landry Jones in the OU offense on 2nd and 5. Jones chased. Takes a pop as he slides about a yard short. Darius Willis, the sophomore middle linebacker from Houston, puts the pop on Landry Jones. So 3rd down and 1 coming for the Sooners.
Oklahoma up-tempo to the line.
Jones handing off. Whaley moves the chains for OU, rolling to the 49 before Willis again makes the stop. A lot of creative terms around the country for tempos. Oklahoma says we go fast, regular, and slow. So this is the fast tempo. Josh Heupel, offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, with Jay Norville, co-offensive coordinators. Ryan Broyles makes the stop. That's his 3rd. He ties the NCAA career mark.
This is exactly what you do to reestablish some of that tempo, some of that momentum. When you have a veteran quarterback who knows this system inside and out, play fast.
Jones on 2nd down. Pass complete. That's Hannah who makes the grab inside the 40.
Such an advantage for a team that lives in the no huddle, because you hear it all the time. The offense is struggling. What do? Well, you pick up your pace. And when you live in that play in and play out, and all you got to do is switch gears for Oklahoma, that can be advantageous for a system.
Whaley turns the corner and has another 1st down. Simmons forces him out, but Dominique Whaley, the junior walk-on running back from Lawton, Oklahoma, makes it 1st and 10 OU inside the 25.
And we've seen enough runs now. You can anticipate some of that play-action pass, some really good movement those zone runs are creating. Watch the play-action pass off of that scheme.
Ray Finch at a tailback. Ryan Broyles lined up in the slot. Jones on 1st down to Stills inside the 10. Kenny Stills wrestled down. It's 1st and goal, Oklahoma. 3rd trip to the red zone for OU. 1st was a touchdown. 2nd was a field goal. So now the KU defense will try and make it 3 on the board. That's the goal for Kansas when Oklahoma's in the red zone. On 1st down, Jones barely releases. It's incomplete. Patman coming on a corner blitz, nearly got to Landry Jones.
Yeah, Vic Shealy's been very aggressive here in this first half, trying to make Landry Jones uncomfortable. Exactly what you've got to do, and you see the shot to the back of the head there to Jones. You got a kid of this caliber that Landry is. When he gets himself into rhythm, as we've seen on this drive, he can carve you up. I like the different looks the Jayhawks are throwing at him.
Finch. Roy Finch on 2nd and goal into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma. And the Sooners quickly regain the lead.
Play to your strengths. You got a veteran quarterback. What do? You go up tempo on Kansas. And then secondly, look at the offensive line. The wonderful block there by Stevenson, left tackle, to cut down that backside pursuit. And there you see some of that 4-4 juice, that 11-1 broad jump, some of that power that the walk-on Whaley possesses.
Honeycutt PAT makes it 17-10. Sooners back on top.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Volvo. Pay nothing to repair or maintain your new Volvo for the first 5 years. And Denny's, America's Diner, is always open.
Here at Allen Fieldhouse, the men's and women's basketball team celebrates the beginning of team practices with Late Night in the Fog. This annual event features skits, music from the KU Pep Band, and team scrimmages. Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk, go KU! Welcome to my university!
What'd you think of your first trip to Fog Allen Fieldhouse, Brock Ewart?
That's a fantastic venue. I love the old and the new, right? You have all these gorgeous new facilities. There's something to be said for a neat old building like that. You just feel the history.
Travis Relaford there in the front. Yeah, that was 16,000 plus standing in line for hours for Late Night in the Fog, when it used to be the Midnight Madness tradition before those practices got moved up, opening day of basketball practice. This year is rolling to the 30-yard line for Kansas. Well, there is Dr. James Naismith. It is Naismith Drive here. The inventor of the game of basketball became the director of athletics here at Kansas. 5 national championships, 2,000 all-time victories. Last 7 Big 12 titles. They'll try and make it 8 straight. We learned on this trip to Lawrence that Dr. Naismith is credited with inventing the football helmet as well. Take that away from your Saturday night. Learn something new about Dr. Naismith in the game of football. Tony Pearson there with a short gain on first down. So Brock, it's 17-10. Oklahoma's regained the lead after a little bit of Jayhawk magic. What does Kansas need to stick to that has kept them in this game?
You've got to find a way, especially on this drive, to get a first down conversion here early. And you put yourself exactly what Chuck Long's wanted to do. He's been patient this evening. You've seen a lot of early down run. Does not want to give this Oklahoma front that's 3rd in America with 19 sacks any chance to tee off on his quarterback. Well, now you put yourself in a manageable situation. You better find a way to move the chains, keep that defense on the sidelines as much as you can.
It's Chuck Long on the left side of your screen. Offensive coordinator at Kansas, former offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Webb rolling on 3rd and short, throwing incomplete, just short on the one hop to Matthews. And Webb is furious with himself.
Well, that's 2 third down conversions this evening. It's the right call. That's an easy pitch and catch. Jordan Webb's frustrated with himself. He throws that pass 10 times in practice. That's completed 10 times. There's really not an easier throw than a little rollout hitch to your arm. And he knew how big that 3rd down conversion could have been.
Kansas goes 3 and out, giving it right back to the Oklahoma offense. Doherty will punt it away to Ryan Broyles. Broyles picks it up on the bounce. Ryan Broyles sprinting across the 40. Tackled near the 45. OU football with a touchdown lead. Ryan Broyles, a Norman High School alum, now playing for Oklahoma. He has tied the all-time NCAA career receptions mark. So our Edward Jones FaceTime profile of Mr. Broyles, and went to Haiti with a group of Oklahoma football players this past May with women's basketball assistant coach Jan Ross. Very meaningful trip. It's now been 2 trips that Coach Ross has led with the women's basketball team, and Whitney Hand, who's now engaged to Landry Jones on that women's basketball team. So Landry and some of his football teammates came along last May. A very rewarding trip in a lot of ways. Landry Jones is downfield complete, and walking into the end zone is Ryan Broyles. And with that catch, Ryan Broyles sets the all-time NCAA career receptions mark. And what a way to do it, with a 56-yard touchdown reception to put Oklahoma in command.
Well, I don't think we could have planned that FaceTime any better. And if you're going to set the new FBS record for career receptions, 58-yard touchdown, not a bad way to do it. He's made so many plays in the slot. That time he split outside as the flanker, and it's pure speed running right behind the Jayhawk defense.
And what a word of congratulations on the sideline there from Bob Stoops, as Broyles is now the career NCAA FBS, that's the bowl subdivision, receptions leader. That's pretty sweet.
You know, a lot of times receivers will dilly-dally and try to set up a route. Not Ryan Broyles. Pure speed. Get from point A to point B as fast as you can. And I can't tell you what the Kansas Jayhawks are trying to do defensively. That's safety. When you settle like that, you're in no man's land. And that's easy pickings for Landry Jones.
Well, add another record to Ryan Broyles' collection, the Big 12 record for receiving touchdowns. He already owns all of the OU marks. Now the all-time receptions leader in the major division of college football, the Big 12 touchdown reception leader. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma's up by 2 touchdowns thanks to 2 quick strike drives. That one, an 8-second one-play touchdown drive, quote-unquote, for Landry Jones, Ryan Broyles, and the Sooners.
Unfortunately for Ryan Broyles, the NFL game is so much about slot receivers now. Wes Welker has shown the strength of a slot receiver to an offense. Ryan Broyles said, I'm not just a slot receiver, I can also make plays outside.
Shears on the return, brought down at the 23. So Broyles 4 catches tonight, so this is among active receivers, and he has all of those big numbers too, including punt return yards.
Something to be said for staying in school. He didn't leave early to the NFL. He wanted to come back, as he said in the preseason, so that one day he can come back to Norman, Oklahoma with his kids and say, look what the accomplishments were for me. I did it the right way. I stayed in school. I worked hard, and I continued to develop year in and year out.
Refreshing. As we check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you very much. That showdown in Eugene is underway. We take you to Oregon, hosting Arizona State. LaMichael James is not playing in this game. Brock Eisweiler here, complete to Jarrell Robinson, 20 yards in the touchdown, and it's Arizona State who strikes first, up 7-0.
Here in Lawrence, Kansas, Oklahoma's regained command, 24-10 now against Kansas. Carter Blackburn with Brock Hewitt, our ESPN crew from Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, Kansas. And a new wrinkle for Kansas offensively as Christian Matthews is taking the direct snaps. Jordan Webb is on the sideline.
After you ground a couple third down, easy conversion passes, Chuck Long says, well, let's get this run game going. A little wildcat presence here with Christian Matthews, receiver turned quarterback.
Miller joins him in the backfield, so direct snap from Matthews, and there's a flag.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 74, the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
And because of the injury to Jeremiah Hatch, we still don't have an update. That offensive line is shuffled. Aaron Jelly goes to center, Spikes to left guard, Riley Spencer now in at left tackle. And since we've seen Hatch leave the game, there have been a couple of false start penalties with the reshuffled offensive line.
And now you see a third and extra long situation, and Webb comes back in. You better be wary of some very active Oklahoma front 4 defenders.
Here they come. Webb heaves it long on 3rd and 10. It is caught for a first down. What a grab by DJ Bashir, the junior from Denton, Texas, Ryan High School. And Webb makes the biggest throw of the night for Kansas.
Now there's something to be said for getting benched. And Jordan Webb looking at a couple plays with the receiver in there at quarterback after a couple poor throws. Can't throw that one any better. Did a wonderful job of putting air on the ball, keeping it in bounds for Brashears to go make a play.
36-yard completion. Webb throwing, completing again to the tight end, Tim Beery, the senior from Omaha, Nebraska. Favorite target, academic all Big 12, as a marketing major and political science minor. Jordan Webb back on the field for KU. He's going to keep it on second down, moving the chains inside the 30.
He did a nice job of getting down at just the right time.
Nelson and Ward popped each other. First down. Webb wants to throw. Everybody's covered. Busted play. He takes the sack. Loss of about 3. Frank Alexander will be credited with yet another sack. 6.5 on the year now for the senior from Baton Rouge. Brent Venable says, quote, he's in a different place, man.
Yeah, he is everything the NFL is looking for from a rush end. 6'4", 260, and playing with tremendous effort in this, his final season.
Second and 13. James Sims trying to turn upfield. Maybe gets a couple, but third and long coming here. Travis Lewis there on the stop. Last time Kansas faced third down, it was a 36-yard strike. Webb scrambling out of the pocket, trying to run away from the OU defense. Webb still rolling. Webb throws, complete, first down, and more inside the 10, inside the 5. Lewis makes the grab, and another busted play turns into a big gainer for Kansas, 26 yards. Webb somehow keeps that play alive.
Well, I'll give Jordan credit for one thing. He is a highly entertaining quarterback. We saw it on the fourth down, 50-some-yard run, improvising, adapting, doing his best. Fran Tarkenton, and all the while keeping his eyes down the field. Improvisation has been the key to his success in this first half.
And Rel Lewis, who ends up making that grab to take it inside the 5, is being helped off the field for Kansas right now. So that's Lewis being helped off. And he made the play, and I'm not positive that that football was designed to go to Rel Lewis. Tim Beery was trying to sit there in the zone.
If he come my way, I'm back.
But in the end, Webb got pulled at the beginning of this drive, remember, and now 3 for 3 with a sophomore from Union, Missouri. Says he learned a lot from the way Todd Reesing dealt with adversity a couple of years ago for Kansas. On first and goal, handing off, it is a Kansas touchdown. Darian Miller into the end zone, and the Jayhawks counterpunch.
A lot of talk in town here the last 2 days since we've been here, listening to talk radio, wondering about the amount of fight the Turner Gills Jayhawks have, and some embarrassing losses to Georgia Tech last week in Stillwater. Could have folded up the tent down 24-10. Instead, put together a fantastic drive to build a little momentum going into halftime.
PAT is good from Euler. So Kansas back within a touchdown. So Brock Heward, a lot of folks didn't think this was going to be a close game whatsoever between Oklahoma and Kansas. You told us before we started this game what you thought Kansas needed to do to stay in the game with Oklahoma. Well, there's a one-touchdown game right now, so Maybe a little luck, a little bit of that rock chalk Jayhawk magic in the air tonight for KU.
Yeah, I can't particularly say that I saw the 4th and 1 down play coming, and I don't think I saw that 3rd down throwing to the tight end where the running back dashes in front, but whatever it takes, right? That's what you've got to do when you're building your program for Turner Gill, the eternal optimist. You said that earlier. And he's got a message to tell his kids that that hard work, that practice, that perseverance can pay off for you. Yeah, I don't think any of us saw a 7-point game with just 3 minutes to go before half.
Now for Oklahoma, tough road test. You know, the Oklahoma coaching staff told us this week, Bob Stoops and Brent Venables saying we didn't really like the way our team came back after the big win against Florida State. A week of preparation, crediting Missouri for playing a tough game in Norman, but still saying we didn't handle that right. Big win a week ago in Dallas against Texas, hoping to get a better response in practice this week and on the field. But a tight game here in Lawrence as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you. A look at what's going on across our networks on ABC. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Bank of America 500 at Charlotte, about 38 laps to go. And Oregon has since answered Arizona State. The Ducks now have tied it up. It's 7-all, 6 minutes to play in the first quarter on ESPN.
Speaking of perseverance, you realize no team has gone into Eugene since Boise State in 2008 and won. And if Arizona State is going to do it, they will have to persevere for 4 quarters.
Landry Jones under center on 1st and 10. Play action. Jones to the air, completing near midfield for another big Oklahoma gainer. It's Ryan Broyles again.
This is now 3 straight possessions where we see a little more of the fundamentals from Landry Jones that I think set him apart. So sound back there in the pocket when he sets his feet.
18-yard pickup, back to Broyles. Darius Willis, the middle linebacker there on the stop. 6 catches on the night now for Broyles. Now the NCAA's major division career reception leader.
What I mean by that, watch his base. He's been a little flustered. That's led to some inaccuracy in this first half. Typically, Landry does such a nice job, even when he resets, of keeping that strong base and those feet underneath him.
Flinging on 2nd and 5 to Kenny Stills for an OU first down.
And that is just textbook. You know, quarterback coaches, heard them say you want to be like a boxer. You really want to be light on your feet. And you want to make sure that you have your balance so you can just snap that ball. That's a cross the field comeback. That's an NFL throw that Landry Jones makes with such ease.
Jones plenty of time to throw. Huge hit across the middle by Steven Johnson. At least making Ryan Broyles pay for another grab.
You know what else Ryan Broyles is he's tough. You don't make 40 career starts at his size without having a level of toughness to your game.
And get it right back to him for an Oklahoma first down. How about Broyles? All right, take a hit. Now he's going to get a little break as he's moved the chains inside the 15.
And really imperative. It's been our message this entire first half. But no time bigger than right now for this group defensively of Kansas to try to keep these Sooners to a field goal. You go in 27-17, very different than if you walk in 34-17, having given up 3 consecutive touchdown drives.
Whaley straight ahead inside the 10. Inside the 5, Dominique Whaley right up the gut.
A better job tonight of establishing the run. You'll see many spread teams in football struggle scoring touchdowns in the red zone, mostly because they can't just line up and run it. Oklahoma's been able to do that on those 2 touchdown drives.
Jones from the shotgun, handing off. Whaley stood up. It's Steven Johnson who comes flying in to make the stop on Whaley, forcing 3rd down and very short. And how big a 3rd down and short is this?
Critical, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is 2-down territory for the Sooners now.
Less than a minute to go before the half. Timeout, Kansas.
Timeout. Kansas, this is their second timeout.
When we come back, 3rd down and 1 from inside the 5 for Oklahoma.
I'm Wendy next here in our college football studios. Coming up on the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, a shootout in the ACC. Would Clemson emerge undefeated? Texas tries to bounce back against Oklahoma State, and Ty McShay and Robert Smith are here with their Saturday studs. It's our top performers. Carter?
A week ago, Oklahoma State was rolling all over Turner Gill's Kansas defense. They've stood their ground here in the first half against Oklahoma. Out of a timeout, this is 3rd down and 1 for OU from inside the Kansas 5.
1-on-1 outside with Ryan Broyles.
Jones hands off. Whaley stood up by Willis. 4th down coming up. The sophomore middle linebacker, Darius Willis, who played for Turner Gill at Buffalo as a true freshman, comes up to make the stop.
Oklahoma is going to take some time, a timeout here to think through this decision. I honestly think on 3rd and 1 on that last play, and I've got Ryan Broyles and all that room outside, that'd have been my time to maybe take a shot out there with Landry Jones. And here's statement time as well. A group that's not done particularly well in the red zone, as we just illustrated statistically. You just run it, you get hit right in the mouth. No one gets onto those linebackers. I'm reading the body language that says in that huddle, we're going for this and making a statement.
If you're number 3 Oklahoma with a 10-game winning streak, the number 5-0 record on the year against a Kansas defense that coming into tonight was last in college football, 4th and 1 inside the 5. That has to be something that the Sooners get.
That's right, and you better get to the linebackers. It's one thing where you've got that physical advantage and you can just look at the size and the strength and the overall movement of Oklahoma's O-line. But if you don't get anybody to that second level and you allow Willis or Johnson to get a clean shot, well, you're going to get stuffed as you did there. So I think a point of emphasis to that big line, that movement's not just enough here. You got to get a helmet onto those second level players. I like this call.
Oklahoma offense stays on the field. 4th down and 1 inside the Kansas 5. Whaley is the tailback. Miller the fullback. Broyles at the bottom of your screen. Jones to Whaley. 1st down OU. It is 1st and goal for the Sooners. And now keep an eye on the clock. Stops temporarily.
And that's right. I need to see a little bit more urgency here from Landry Jones. You have the timeout now. Here's the quick snap.
On 1st and goal.
This is the 3rd and final timeout of the first half called by Kansas. This timeout will be for 30 seconds.
The Jayhawks appeared to have 12 men on the field, so that timeout was necessary.
Miller does just enough there at fullback to get a body on the scrambling there. Bradley McDougal coming from his safety spot. Miller, the fullback, hybrid H-back, tight end. Ooh, that knee came down. And that timeout, based on personnel, may be giving this booth a little extra time to take a look.
No call from the replay official yet. But we will give you another look. The question here, so this is on 4th down and 1 as to where Whaley was when he was down. And the yellow line's unofficial, but it's very close. Either way, that's very close. 1st and goal, Kansas out of timeouts. Oklahoma has 1 remaining. Oklahoma's 10-game winning streak and undefeated record this year on the line. Jones to the air. Incomplete. Dropped by Whaley near the goal line. 2nd and goal, 13 seconds left in the half.
You could not have drawn that play up any better. They motion Whaley out. He just takes his eye off the ball, doesn't finish looking it in, looking at the end zone instead of tucking that one away. Really well-designed concept from Josh Heupel. 13 seconds, timeout, playbook entirely open here for Oklahoma.
An Oklahoma field goal here is a win for Kansas. Jones under center on 2nd down and goal. Play action, incomplete, intended for Ryan Broyles. 3rd and goal from the Kansas 2. 9 seconds.
Ball just a little bit high. I understand what Landry's thinking. My guy or nobody with those underneath linebackers. He doesn't miss that high very often. And once again, with a timeout, you can run anything in the book.
Landry Jones to throw again on 3rd and goal. Incomplete. 4th and goal coming with 6 seconds remaining in the half. Millard the intended target.
So home turf may have been the biggest advantage here. Another well-conceived concept, open receiver, and that's Millard just tripping up over the paint in the end zone.
Oklahoma is going to take the lead into the half, but Kansas is going to have the momentum after holding Oklahoma to a field goal attempt when the mighty Sooners had it 1st and goal inside the 5. 1st and goal from the 2. Honeycutt's field goal is good. So 10-point lead, 27-17. Oklahoma on Kansas, 3 seconds left. But it takes some magic, takes some luck, takes some willpower to stay in this game after Oklahoma State throttled Kansas a week ago.
Landry Jones, a laid-back guy from all accounts of his coaching staff, but you sense a little body language there coming off the field. Those are 2 misses. You know, unlike Kansas, who has a 4th and 1, fumbled snap, totally discombobulated play that turns into a 57-yard touchdown. Unlike Jordan Webb, and I think you and I agree, wasn't even throwing to the running back, looking to his tight end. Running back flashes, gets the ball to the 1-yard line. Those are exactly the opposite for Landry in the offense. Those are well-conceived plays. Those are wide-open receivers in the red zone, and those are 2 misses. 3 misses, really. 1 drop, 1 sailed slant route, and Millard there tripping over the paint in the end zone. That's an opportunity lost for Oklahoma.
A week ago in Stillwater, 56-7 at the half. Oklahoma State on Kansas. And Lawrence, 10-point lead for Oklahoma on KU. Good kick, trying to avoid the return at the end of the half. And so at halftime, it's 3rd-ranked Oklahoma, 5-0 on the season, a 10-point lead, and a lot of momentum for Turner Gill's Jayhawks. They're in the game at the half as we send you to Windy Nicks. Late night from Lawrence, Kansas. ESPN College Football presented by Miller Lite as we begin the start of the 3rd quarter. 3rd-ranked undefeated Oklahoma with a 10-point lead on Kansas. Carter Blackburn with Brock Heward. Not many times does a home team trailing by 10 at the half claim the momentum of this game. But considering that last week in Stillwater, Kansas was down 56-7 at the half to Oklahoma State, there's some momentum for the Jayhawks right now.
And 168 rushing yards. He made some big plays on 3rd down to keep drives alive. And he also held Oklahoma at the most critical time to some field goals in that first half. And that's why, frankly, this is a 10-point game.
So now in the third quarter, this has been a big differential quarter for both Oklahoma and for Kansas. There have been some big separation like Georgia Tech and Texas Tech against Kansas in the third quarter. What does Turner Gill's team need to do in this third quarter to reverse those numbers, hang in this game with Oklahoma into the fourth?
You don't change from what you've done in this first half. You've got to continue to establish that run right at Oklahoma, find a way to make some explosive plays as they did in that first half, and then defensively it's going to be bend, 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 and try to hold Oklahoma to 3 points instead of 7.
Darian Miller, short gain on first down. Let's take a look at tonight's game track, brought to you by John Hancock. Ryan Broyles sets the all-time career reception record in stylish fashion, 57-yard TD.
8 receptions in that first half, a workmanlike effort. And how about that play on 4th and 1? Completely broken play. Webb had the awareness to pitch it to Sims, and he had the speed to take it the distance.
102nd meeting between Kansas and Oklahoma on the football field. Last time that an unranked Kansas team beat a ranked Oklahoma team, 1984. KU's last win in this series was in 1997. Third down coming up here for the Jayhawks, opening drive of the second half.
Oklahoma defensively on the season, just giving up 110 yards per game. As I referenced there, yes, the big play, the 50-plus yard run on 4th down helped. But now up over 170 yards on the ground are the Jayhawks.
Jordan Webb, the sophomore quarterback, out of the shotgun on 3rd and 3. Heavy pressure coming. Miller loses the football. Comes flying out near the 20. Harris forces the fumble. Kansas appears to get back on top to make it 3rd and extremely long. So this will be a 3 and out. And Brent Venables and Bob Stoops have to be pleased with that response from the defense.
That's about as textbook as you get from the safety position. We talk about the speed of that Sooner back 7, a bit undersized. Harris, just 200 pounds at 5'11". You can't put your helmet on the football any better than that.
Doherty to punt to Ryan Broyles. Broyles calls for the fair catch at the 45. So Landry Jones and the Oklahoma offense have excellent field position at the 45. Well, Landry Jones started this game 0 for 4, missed some throws, didn't get the ball in the end zone at the end of the first half. And yet again, there's 27 points on the board for Oklahoma.
That's right. You sit there, 223 yards. 6 times in his career is Landry Jones thrown for over 400 yards. He's on pace for that. He's avoided the negative plays, the interceptions. Just got to be a little bit more crisp along with his receivers, running backs, tight ends, executing a little better here in the second half.
The junior from Artesia, New Mexico, who has 79 career touchdown passes now. Landry Jones pumps and nearly intercepted. Woo!
And that is a play you must make.
That's Michael Reynolds, true freshman defensive end.
That's a gimme. Landry Jones does not give you many of those opportunities. You have to take advantage of them.
Back to the ground on 2nd down and 10. Dominique Whaley picks up 4, maybe 5 to make it 3rd down on the opening drive for Oklahoma in the second half.
When you're 120th in college football and you had forced just 2 turnovers through your first 5 games, they got the fumble earlier from the true freshman. You've got to find a way to look that interception in. And now defensively, that play's behind you. You also have to find a way to get Oklahoma off the field on the first 3rd down in the second half.
Jones down the seam on 3rd and 6. Batted and incomplete. Greg Brown, the junior corner, knocks it away on the 3rd down seam route away from Ryan Broyles.
That's a couple 3 and outs tonight. Turner Gill was hoping desperately, Vic Shuey, the defensive coordinator, to find some little battles that you could win. And there's been enough evidence here. This is a different group. For all of the fanfare over the radio airwaves the last couple days that I've heard about Turner Gill and this woeful defense, these kids and freshmen have been flying around, playing differently than what I've seen on film through the first 5 games.
Fair catch from Bashirs inside the 15. 3 and out for both of the offenses to start the third. Back in Lawrence, Kansas, 2 of the best running backs to play the game. John Riggins and Gale Sayers, both Kansas Jayhawks. The visit with Gale Sayers a little bit last night. I guess that counts as name dropping, right? Fog Allen Fieldhouse about the importance of Kansas football. Gale Sayers says, yeah, I love Kansas basketball. Celebrate the championships. Celebrate Allen Fieldhouse. We got to get football rolling. Hard to believe it was just a few short years ago Kansas was winning the Orange Bowl.
And when you name drop like that, don't bring emphasis to it next time.
Okay. Lots of celebs in the house last night. Not only Brock Heward there at Allen Fieldhouse. Rob Riggle was in the house. Xavier Henry, now the Memphis Grizzlies, coming back. Play action throwing on first down. Ja'Cory Shepard makes the grab for Kansas. Will Forte was there at Allen Fieldhouse last night. And a lot of those folks stuck around to watch Kansas football, and there was a big fear around here, Brock, that this was going to be as ugly as Oklahoma State a week ago, as Georgia Tech was. Blowout, big blowout losses for Kansas football. Here in the third, got a tight ball game. Flag on this play as Pearson nears the first down. Flag down.
And that's going to be a holding outside, trying to get to that edge. The one difference between those games you reference and those blowouts, those were on the road. There's always something to be said about coming home. Bob Stoops said that as well, talking about this game in particular. The Turner Gill's team, and especially against Texas Tech, it was this third quarter that devastated them. If they could have avoided a very negative third quarter, well, that Texas Tech game could have been very differently coming down the stretch.
Holding, number 7 of the offense. The penalty would be from the previous spot, half the distance to the goal. Remains first down. Correction, second down.
Yeah, that's Cale Pick, the converted quarterback. Started the first game a season ago for these Jayhawks. It almost could have been a block in the back, a hold. Trying to do whatever he can, but now he set his offense back to the -7.
Second and long. Webb finds Pearson, who slips inside the 5. So this is third down and really long from inside Kansas' own 5. Give Frank Alexander credit for another TFL.
And this is very dangerous territory now for Kansas. Chuck Long has done a nice job of controlling second and medium, third and medium. Now you're third and extra long. And for one of the first times I can really remember tonight, Carter, this Oklahoma D-line that's so adept at rushing the passer has a real chance to pin their ears back.
On 3rd and 18, Webb has a shot downfield, bobbled, and incomplete. Well, the way the breaks have gone for Kansas, you were just thinking maybe Bashirs was going to come down with that one for another wacky conversion, but it'll be another 3 and out.
And I love that call. Bashirs does a nice job of setting that go route up. That ball is right in his hands on 2 occasions, and that really would have done something to reignite this crowd. It's sitting on their hands now. You almost get the sense they're waiting for Oklahoma to awaken.
Doherty will punt from the back of his end zone to Ryan Broyles. Low kick. Hits at the 35. Takes a late Kansas roll to get back out to the 45, near it. Landry Jones and the Sooners will have a very short field trying to extend their lead.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. It's all in the mail. And ink, the new business card from Chase. Make your mark with ink.
The not officially sanctioned Lawrence Bar Band down Massachusetts Avenue here in Lawrence. Oklahoma football leading by 10.
And at the plus 44, this is the area of the field that I would love to take a shot. Good play action pass. And running that zone run, I'd love to throw one deep here.
Really behind Landry Jones in the pistol formation. Flag on the play. False start.
Prior to the snap, false start. 69 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
I watch Oklahoma real closely pregame warm-up, and I'll tell you, there was a sense of intensity. I did not get any feel that they were flat, that they were not ready for this game. They got after it in warm-ups. They have just not been sharp on multiple levels in their execution.
1st and 15 after the penalty. Swinging to the flat for Kenny Stills. Broyles throws a block out there for him to get the penalty yards back. Lubbock Smith forces him out. Oklahoma with a 10-game winning streak. Second only to Stanford in the FBS. On the line here in Kansas. The BCS standings come out tomorrow night. Less than 24 hours away from the first BCS standings of the year. Jones on second down to Stills. 38.
Up those BCS standings. I'll tell you what else is on the line. Country's watching tonight. Oh no, and that is very bad news. Kenny Stills still down on the ground.
And what's already turning into a long season for Kenny Stills. Missed the opener because of suspension. Missed the Mizzou game because of concussion symptoms. And now he goes down on the turf here in the third in Lawrence. Kenny Stills walking back to the Oklahoma sideline, which is very good news for the Sooners. And you see Kenny Stills pointing to that right knee. So here's third down for Oklahoma. Kenny Stills on the sideline. Landry Jones over the middle, complete. Ryan Broyles has it again, this time to the 29, 9th catch of the night for Ryan Broyles.
How many times has Ryan Broyles done that in his career? Little option route.
First down of the second half. There's a flag down. Incomplete pass. That's how that was called, as Oklahoma went quick hurry up for first down.
The ruling on the field was a backward pass. However, there was an illegal substitution violation against the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains first down.
One of the real challenges when you play that Oklahoma team, and Landry Jones gets a sense he can see those defenders coming on and off of the field. And that's an obvious call for the side judge. 12 on the field. That's unfortunate. That would have been another negative play with the lateral there from Oklahoma.
Another of the reasons why Oklahoma has that tempo to negate your substitutions when they don't substitute. 1st and 5. Play action. Landry Jones finally releases an incomplete for Whaley. Good job of the Kansas defense covering everybody up. So 2nd and 5.
And that's about as animated as you're ever going to see Landry Jones. A conversation there with Dominique Whaley, wanting him to do a little bit more on the check down. Kansas plays coverage there. There's that shot play pass that I was looking for. Kansas has 2 deep safeties. Landry wants more from his running back on his check down to separate and give him an outlet.
Jones throws again on 2nd and 5. Broyles grabs it again, but he is wrapped up and dropped by Tyler Patman, sophomore from Round Rock, Texas, to make it 3rd and short.
And something Turner Gill talked about in college football. He felt an epidemic of poor tackling. And here they go, hurry up once again.
Quick hitter. Broyles in the flat, wide open. Ryan Broyles inside the 10, inside the 5. He is marked down at the 2. Marked down at the 2, so no fumble on the play. Lubbock Smith makes the stop. 19-yard pickup. So again, he's ruled down at the 2.
Further review.
Replay booth will take a closer look. So Broyles ruled down at the 2. And oh, this would be a huge momentum swing if that call is reversed.
Don't see any knees. That right knee is awfully close when the ball's driven into the ground.
Of course, the other part of that equation is, does the ground...
Ooh, is that right knee down? That ball is fumbled with the ground from Ryan Broyles. What an excellent block. You see 16, Jazz Reynolds outside there. Just the extra effort on his part. Let's take a look here. I think the only thing in question, the elbow's not. It's just going to be that right knee.
What do you think?
I think in baseball they call that a bang-bang play.
Yeah.
Almost a simultaneous look.
As the ball coming out before Broyles, before the football touches the ground too.
Do you see an indisputable picture there, a frame that clearly shows going against, and I think what's critical here to understand, the call on the field is he being down. Remember, this goes one of 3 ways by rule. They can reverse this call. Call can be stand as called, or it can be conclusive, confirmed. I don't think by any stretch it's going to be confirmed.
So the call was Broyles down at the 2.
This would be monumental for Kansas if they can force another turnover.
How amazing if this is reversed, and again, we're going to get the ruling at some point. But
that would be a touchback, and the ball would go all the way out to the 20-yard line. I just have yet to see, and we had a very similar play a week ago down the road in Manhattan, Kansas, where I did not see a picture frame that told me indisputable. Something so clear. And they reversed it last week with Kansas State. And when it's taking this much time, you know this replay booth exactly to our right here is watching that very, very closely, seeing if there's any evidence, any one particular shot. And remember, by rule, that ball goes out of the back of the end zone. That will be a touchback. And Kansas would dodge an enormous bullet here midway through the third quarter.
While they're waiting for this, regardless, 10-point lead for Oklahoma right now on Kansas. If you're an Alabama fan or an LSU fan and your teams have won today, they're undefeated, BCS standings come out tomorrow. Oklahoma has a 3 next to its name. What are you thinking right now watching this Oklahoma team struggle on the road at a Kansas team who's lost its last 3, a couple of those in blowout fashion?
You'd be thinking we're deserving, if you're LSU and Alabama, to be exactly where you are. 1 and 2 in that AP vote. And remember, the Harris poll is 1/3 of those BCS rankings that will come out tomorrow night. And that's a human poll.
Well, this would be a huge momentum swing if Kansas, this is a Kansas team.
If they're taking, boy, if they're taking this much time.
Yeah.
A week ago, I was wrong. A week ago, I thought that there was just not that indisputable visual evidence.
A long look at this. Because if they say this is a fumble by Broyles, if it made it out the back of the end zone. Yeah.
That's going to be a touchback.
If the call is reversed.
Correct.
After further review, the ball was loose before the player was down. It rolled out of bounds in the end zone, resulting in a touchback. The ball will belong to Kansas at the 20-yard line, first down.
Kansas had forced 2 turnovers the first 5 games of the year. Last in college football. And now 2 turnovers by the Oklahoma offense tonight. That would have been Oklahoma football at the 2.
Staring 34-17 in the face. Instead, the ball all the way back to the 20. Down 10 halfway through this third quarter. I will tell you, the one thing that stands out to me was Ryan Broyles' reaction. You saw him lay on that field immediately. It was almost as if he knew he didn't want to put that play into video review hands. Kansas must take advantage of this opportunity.
Jordan Webb and the Kansas offense back on the field. Sims short gain. And get it at the 20 because it's a touchback. There it is, Brock. Broyles' reaction to that play, just disappointment.
That's right. You can't fool players, right? You can often read by their body language. I think he's just very disappointed it's even close. But on a very close call, it goes the Jayhawks' way.
Incomplete. Intended for Bashir, so third down and long already for Jordan Webb and the Kansas offense.
Jordan Webb is the 8th rated passer, pass efficiency in the FBS. And I'll tell you, if they're going to have a chance here in the second half, he has got to be sharper. That is now 3 occasions where he's had clear windows. That offensive line is protecting him. He's not getting battered as the Sooners did to the Longhorns a week ago. He's having his opportunities. He's got to hit those open shots.
Beginning here on 3rd and long. Webb pressured. Webb release is incomplete. Kansas goes 3 and out. So after the takeaway by the Kansas defense, the offense does nothing with it. Corey Nelson applying the pressure there on Jordan Webb. So 3 and out again for KU. That is 3 and outs by the Kansas offense.
You see the conversation there. You referenced earlier how good a quarterback Turner Gill was. Never lost a conference game in 3 years. His 2 losses were in bowl games. And he's saying, just settle down. The plays are there to be made, Jordan. These guys are good, but there's still opportunities for us. That second down miss came back to bite them.
OU football on offense after we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you. We go back to Eugene. Oregon riding a 19-game home win streak. They are playing without LaMichael James. But here we go. Darren Thomas, 12 yards and a touchdown to David Paulson. And Oregon 21-17 over Arizona State at the half. And it is official. The Rangers are headed back to the World Series for their 2nd consecutive season, beating the Tigers 15-5 in Game 6. Carter?
big time. Rangers headed to the World Series, second year in a row. Nolan Ryan just wins at whatever he does. Dominique Whaley diving there for about an 8-yard gain on first down. So Oklahoma in the second half, a 3-and-out, and then the Broyles fumble. Now can Landry Jones and the Sooners get back on track? Quick tempo on second down and short. Whaley just does pick up the first down before Steven Johnson forces him out.
Really disappointing that Kansas, after that second takeaway of the evening, right, a breath of fresh air in your ball at the 20-yard line. You see the excitement from the fans, and a 3-and-out against a really good ball club, poised, veteran experience as the Sooners are. Those are the ones that really, watching film tomorrow, are going to be terribly frustrating plays to look at.
Landry Jones rolling out of the pocket on first down. He's going to toss it to the sideline, incomplete.
Smart play on first down. I'll tell you, I've been really impressed by Kansas. Woeful film a week ago. Oklahoma State doing whatever they wanted. Brandon Whedon very rarely even had to come off his first read or second read. Kansas has taken away some of Landry's first, second progressions. Made him move his feet a little bit. Why he's just at 50% for the evening.
Bunsen and Beaker, the play call for second down and 10.
Or a tick above.
O'Porum comes in to make the stop on Whaley.
He's our impact player, former running back. He's more of their pass rusher. It's a poor effort by Oklahoma out on that edge, looking for other defenders to block. O'Porum makes him pay and puts the Sooners in a third and extra long situation.
On third and long, Landry Jones looking complete. Jazz Reynolds makes the grab just beyond the sticks to move the chains.
And that's just devastating. Just sucks the life right out of you defensively. You make two good plays. Third and 15, you drop 8. Landry finds the open man.
Jones to a dragging Jazz Reynolds again inside the 25. Reynolds, a sophomore from Houston Eisenhower High School, who was suspended his freshman year for some inappropriate comments on Twitter. He has come back and an explosive playmaker when he gets rolling in the Oklahoma offense. Averaging 20 yards a catch coming into tonight. Kenny Stills on the screen. Positive gain on first down.
And positive to see the playmaker back on the field. Stills with an ugly little hyperextension of the knee. Was able to walk that off. He's such a nice compliment on the other side. You want to roll coverage to Broyles and leave Kenny Stills one-on-one. You know, he actually set the freshman records a year ago at Oklahoma. Beat out Ryan Broyles with his efforts of 60+ receptions last season.
Pair of touchdowns versus Texas last week in Dallas. Jones pass complete to James Hanna near that first down marker. Jones over the 10,000 mark in his career.
Look what those 3-and-outs do. You see the hands on the hips of Bob Stoops. Look at the hands of the hips of those Kansas Jayhawk defenders as well. That's the other problem when you're on and off that field on offense and you don't move the chains. This Jayhawk defense been out here a lot this second half.
Fumble by Broyles last trip for the red zone for Oklahoma. Whaley fighting inside the 10. Colin Garrett, true freshman, weak side linebacker there on the stop. Second down and 10.
Can you guess who's the live signal?
I think I saw a bunt sign in there somewhere. Jones in the flat, pulls. Minimal gain, making it third down. Lubbock Smith on the stop. Third and 4 for Oklahoma.
Look at him spread out the offensive lineman. Eligible.
Screen, Stills, wrapped up and dropped back at the 10. The Kansas defense holds on third and 4. It's the former walk-on senior linebacker Steven Johnson who makes the tackle on Stills. Field goal unit out for Oklahoma.
Give some real credit to these Jayhawks. These bubble screens, these outside quick hitters, quick hitches. It's all about effort defensively. They got to leverage those plays, keep them inside out. This group has tackled probably the best effort I have seen this season on tape from the Kansas Jayhawks defensively.
Michael Honeycutt from 27 yards. He's got it. Oklahoma up 30-17 now, but Kansas again keeps Oklahoma out of the end zone. Less than 24 hours from now, the first BCS standings will be released. BCS Countdown presented by Discover. Sunday, 8:15 Eastern, continuing on ESPNU at 9 Eastern. So there is a 3 right now. Next to Oklahoma's name is AP poll number 3. That doesn't factor into the BCS standings. Entering today, Brad Edwards did project that Oklahoma would be number 3. And now we go to the blind resumes. Top 3 teams in the AP poll. So matchup, who's LSU, who's Alabama, and who's Oklahoma?
Well, the one giveaway here, you see that schedule strength, and you know that LSU has had a brutal road. Part of the reason why those AP voters have them number 1.
The TD margin big for Oklahoma, thanks in large part to the route last week. Turnover margin, well, that was a factor too. The takeaways against Texas, 3 defensive touchdowns last week in Dallas. We'll see how the official BCS poll, BCS standings, I should say. Going to get all this properly squared away. BCS standings released tomorrow night on ESPN. The Shears to the 17 on the return. So Kansas doesn't have a first down here in the third quarter.
If we would have told Chuck Long, Turner Gill, Vic Shealy, the defensive coordinator for Kansas yesterday, that you'd be sitting here 4 minutes ago in the third quarter down 30-17, that you held Oklahoma 3 out of 5 times to field goals in the red zone, that you've yet to gain a first down in the second half, and you're within 13 points, they take that yesterday.
Now can Jordan Webb, the sophomore quarterback, engineer the drive. Screen on the outside goes to Tim Beery, the senior from Omaha, Nebraska, Westside High School.
Oklahoma has allowed Kansas to stay in this game. A couple uncharacteristic turnovers. Once again, a bugaboo for them this year. Less than 60% scoring touchdowns down in that red zone. You haven't seen the killer takeaway or the sacks or the negative plays that Oklahoma has generated so often this year defensively. The Jayhawks very much still alive.
Sims stood up, no gain, 3rd and 6 coming. Well, even with Webb and the offense struggles here in the third quarter, there's a 17 on the board for Kansas. That's as many as Texas scored all game, with the benefit of a kickoff return for a touchdown a week ago in Dallas. Miller next to Jordan Webb on 3rd down and 6. Kansas needs to move the chains. Inside give, Miller, nothing doing. 4th down. Jaden Bird in there on the stop on Miller. So Kansas is going to go 3 and out again. Well, it was the much maligned Kansas defense that stiffened tonight against Oklahoma, kept them in the ball game, and now a Kansas offense that's been rolling pretty good. How much of that is Kansas offense here in the second half? How much of that is OU defense?
Well, OU defensively has been very, very sound here in the second half. They've not allowed those explosive plays they did in the first half. They made Kansas earn everything. And right now, as a collective group, Kansas offensively isn't good enough.
Flag on the play, and this is going to make it even tougher for Doherty.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 31 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Boyles, the active leader in punt return yards, waits near the 45. Ryan It's a terrible kick. Out of bounds near the 35. Stellar field position coming for Oklahoma. Monday night, Dolphins-Jets, kickoff 8:30. Coverage begins 7 o'clock with NFL Countdown served by Applebee's. Jets have lost 3 in a row heading into Monday night. Hoping to get it turned around against the Dolphins.
And these Jayhawks have lost 3 in a row, and in many of those games you could point to a defensive effort over 700 yards by Georgia Tech, 600 on the ground. A week ago, 600 yards, 499 passing. This Jayhawk defense has given the offense opportunities, but 4 3-and-outs has left them on the field way too long in this second half. And I think eventually it will make them succumb.
After a 19-yard punt, 19 yards. Roy Finch gets the first down carry. Anthony Davis lays a big lick on Roy Finch. Quickly, second down. Back to Finch. Running on the right side. First down. And now Finch lays a couple licks on the Kansas defense and takes it to the 10. And that fires up the Oklahoma offense. A 21-yard gain. But Finch down at the end of the play.
It's one of the challenges at 5'7", listed at 166 pounds. He's so explosive. Remember last season when we were in Norman, they raved about this young kid from Niceville, Florida, really adding that extra dimension. DeMarco Murray was so productive. They felt like this kid had the speed. We saw it on the touchdown run earlier from him with the jump cut. Very similar technique here, just the speed and the power to run through tackles. When you're 160 pounds and you take some of that punishment, you can see some of the frustration there from Bob Stoops. He wants to generate a little bit more run. You asked me earlier, where does LSU, where does Alabama? When you play against those teams, and if Oklahoma can get to that point, if they get by Oklahoma State and Bedlam, and they face one of those powerhouses, one of those SEC foes, you've got to do more of this. You got to be able to establish that run game, and Bob Stoops knows it.
So Roy Finch will exit the game. Kenny Stills left the game earlier for Oklahoma, came right back, and now Roy Finch heads to the Oklahoma sideline. So now can the Sooner offense put it in the end zone? Without Roy Finch, Dominique Whaley back into the game. He is Oklahoma's starting running back. He's in the backfield behind Landry Jones. First and goal just inside the 10. Whaley straight ahead. Running on the left side. Dropped inside the 5. Augustino makes the stop. Only 2 touchdowns, 5 possessions in the red zone now for Oklahoma. Field goal last time in the red zone. Royals fumble just before halftime. Kansas again holding Oklahoma to a field goal. That was one of the big goals for the Kansas defense. Oklahoma gets inside the 23 rather than 6.
Kansas is selling out to the run. Look at the one-on-ones outside.
Whaley gets it again. Whaley dropped to make it 3rd down and goal. Bakari on the stop there.
We had Stanford earlier this season, and remember the Stanford coaches saying, hey, sometimes we just want to bloody our knuckles. We know that we're outnumbered at the line of scrimmage. And all these occasions when Kansas puts that many defenders around the tackle box and leaves one-on-one outside, you're outgunned. But Oklahoma still says we're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster, and we're going to try to enforce our will. And they're going to try to do it here to start the 4th quarter.
Take a look at our expert breakdown brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Brock Heward is our expert.
And Oklahoma just 2 of 5 in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, missed opportunities. At times it's been the extra effort of Kansas. And more than anything, the Jayhawks outnumbering Oklahoma at the line of scrimmage, almost daring them to throw outside of the one-on-one coverage.
First play of the 4th quarter. Dominique Whaley in and running back on 3rd down and goal for Oklahoma. Sooners looking to reverse that red zone trend. Landry Jones throwing to Whaley out of the backfield. He's wrestled down and dropped by Darius Willis. 4th and goal coming for Oklahoma. Field goal unit is on.
That's another win for Kansas on a night where they knew coming into this game that Oklahoma was going to move the ball between the 20s, and they had to play really sound defensively and fly around in the red zone. They've done that, holding now Oklahoma to 4 field goals out of 6 red zone opportunities.
Honeycutt for 20 yards. Oklahoma on Kansas. Jayhawks haven't scored. Jayhawks don't have a first down in the second half. The only game that Kansas has won in conference competition the past 2 years was against Colorado, now a member of the Pac-12, in a big second half comeback, huge second half comeback for Kansas, a 42-point second half comeback against Colorado. So if Kansas is going to pull off the upset, they're going to need a similar effort here in the 4th quarter.
And when you're in building your program mode, as Turner Gill is right now here in Lawrence, you're just trying to find things in which you can build upon. And through the first 5 games this season, there was lots of things offensively to feel good about. The mix of run and pass, being a top 20 run team, being a top 10 in pass efficiency. And tonight, unfortunately, outside of a couple almost busted plays, this offense has contributed very little, and it's been the defense, and in particular that red zone defense, that's kept this game interesting into the 4th quarter.
Kansas only 5 yards of offense in the 3rd quarter. Didn't have a first down in the 3rd quarter. Squid kick bounces to Bashirs near the 10. DJ Bashirs across the 25. Across the 30 for the Kansas offense. Time for the Big 12 update, brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. The incredible offensive numbers put up around this conference.
Just look at largely the quarterbacks in those situations too. Whedon throwing it all over the yard. Robert Griffin III, so dynamic. Oklahoma, multiple weapons. Texas Tech, you know, they're just almost born to throw it down there in Lubbock.
1st and 10 for Kansas, and the sophomore QB Jordan Webb from Union, Missouri, throwing to Darian Miller out of the backfield. The true freshman takes a couple pops, picks up positive yards out of the backfield.
Just a first down, right?
Yeah.
Right now, that's all you're thinking offensively. And on those sidelines coming into this drive, okay, put the 3rd quarter behind you. 4 miserable possessions. And now a defense gives you some life. Just find a way, first and foremost, to move these chains.
Sims gets maybe another yard or 2 to make it 3rd down and short. 5 yards of offense for Kansas in the 3rd, so even to get the 3rd down and 3, that's more offensive production in the 4th.
And the tackling's been so much more sound here in the second half by Oklahoma. They've tightened the gaps. They've gotten off blocks on the defensive line. A very different effort here in the second half.
Webb dropping on 3rd and 3, and a drop ball over the middle. Christian Matthews, the sophomore, got to make that one.
I think Webb can give him just a little bit easier pass as well. Got a wide open little shallow cross. He's trying to pick up that first down as a quarterback. Just put a little more touch on that pass. But when you go now 5 3 and outs, you start to squeeze that ball even tighter. This will be disappointing because schematically they've been put in position to make some plays, just unable to do it in the second half.
Doherty puts off a good one after a 19-yard punt the last time down. Oklahoma football trying to close it out in Lawrence. Fourth quarter, late night in Lawrence. 3rd-ranked Oklahoma trying to pull away from Kansas 33-17 as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championships. Arthur Blackburn with Rob Hewitt, our ESPN crew from University of Kansas Memorial Stadium. Andrew Jones and the Oklahoma offense from the 15. Junior QB from New Mexico gives to the walk-on starting running back for Oklahoma, Dominique Whaley.
And if you're Bob Stoops and Landry Jones right now, you want nothing more than to possess this ball for 6-7 minutes, run it right at Kansas, easy completions. It's not been clean. There's going to be lots to correct here this week after an ugly effort through 3.5 quarters, but you put some of that behind you with a really efficient ball possession drive.
Whaley on second down, turning the corner, moving the chains. So after we've seen up-tempo hurry up from Oklahoma, a lot of passes through the air, you think this is the point where it's run the football, run the clock?
Well, I would think so. Your defense has forced 5 3-and-outs from the Kansas Jayhawks, and I know that's part of your system, and being up-tempo is the identity and the nature of what you do. But I also think there comes a time when you've seen your defense just dominate an opponent and, limit their opportunities and possessions, come out of here with a win and start eating up some of this clock.
Whaley running left on first down. Whaley turns the corner, has a first down, has a sideline, and a touchdown-saving tackle made by Lubbock Smith.
Stop by number 1, Lubbock Smith.
After a 24-yard gain.
One of the few times we've gotten to see some of that 4-4 speed we heard so much about. And so much for ball possession if you can get that big explosive play to also put the nail in the coffin.
Kansas doesn't have a first down, so the defense has been out there. After 5 straight 3-and-outs from Kansas here in the second half, that has to be a factor at this point. Just time on the field for the defense, right?
Well said.
Thanks. Whaley has 131 yards. Give it right back to him. That ball comes out, but Whaley was ruled down. Play was over.
This feels a little bit like Oklahoma State, Texas today, right? You're just waiting for Oklahoma State to get going, and they make some big plays, and yet Texas kind of weathered the storm and hung in there, much like Kansas has done through this game. And that's awfully close. Whaley's got to tighten up his ball security. But most importantly for the Cowboys, the Sooners, when you go on the road in any conference, any major conference especially, the bottom line, no matter how ugly it can be at times, survive and get that win.
Play fake. Jones throwing incomplete on second down. So third down coming after the incompletion to Rattery. Oklahoma Bob Stoops teams undefeated the week following the Red River game against Texas in Dallas. Mac Brown's Texas teams were undefeated the week after until today's loss to Oklahoma State in Austin. No question, Bob Stoops, Brent Venables wanted to see excellent effort out of the team, especially out of the defense. And they've gotten that in the second half. Now Landry Jones in the offense trying to convert on 3rd and 5. Who do you go to on 3rd and 5 when you need a big play? None other than Ryan Broyles. Second touchdown grab of the night. This one goes for 43. And on the night when Ryan Broyles, the senior from Norman, becomes the career NCAA record holder for receptions, he has a pair of touchdowns to go with it.
Give me one adjective. You've watched him now play. We watched him a number of times last year. One adjective to describe Ryan Broyles' game.
Shifty. How about you?
Shifty and smooth at the same time, right? I get it. Shifty, beating man coverage, those option routes, the quickness that he has. And you've seen him also 2 times. Huge plays tonight, Carter, with the go route and that the deep corner route. It also shows you he can kick it into another gear.
Well, a fumble for Ryan Broyles earlier when he was trying to stretch for the end zone. No stretching needed on this one. A new career high 217 yards, 13 catches, and now 2 big TDs for Mr. Broyles.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. And in part by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai.
That is Challenger, the bald eagle who made a successful flight around Memorial Stadium during the national anthem before kickoff tonight of OU-KU. Fourth quarter now, Oklahoma starting to pull away. 40-17 now, the third-ranked Sooners on the Kansas Jayhawks. College football primetime presented by Miller Lite. Carter Blackburn, Brock Hewitt, our ESPN crew from Lawrence, Kansas. Ryan Broyles with a record-setting night and a career-high night. 217 receiving yards, pair of touchdowns. Redeeming himself from a fumble inside the 5. Shears takes it to the 30. Less than 24 hours from now, the first BCS standings are revealed on ESPN Sunday, 8:15 Eastern Time. Our coverage continues on ESPNU at 9 Eastern. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Craig James for the BCS Countdown Sunday nights. Brock, you pointed out, I mean, there's computers, but the Harris poll, that's judgment. That's, as you said, the human poll.
They're going to judge an effort tonight that if they stuck around and watched this game, they didn't see Oklahoma's cleanest effort. And as bad as Kansas had been the last few weeks, there's an expectation that you were going to come in here and just throttle this team. And Turner Gill's group responded, made it a much uglier effort. Now, having said that, still look at the bottom line. Oklahoma has 550 yards of offense. Ryan Broyles, as he said, over 200 yards.
Landry Jones has 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs. But you know that Oklahoma's not going to be pleased with a lot of things that happened here tonight in Lawrence, no matter what happens in the last 10 minutes of this football game. A shoe goes flying as Miller makes it 3rd and short. Shoe has found its home on the left foot of Jaden Bird.
Now, the good thing for Oklahoma, schedule-wise, and as you look down that schedule, you go to Baylor late in the year, you still have A&M at home, Kansas State, and Bill Snyder doing his thing remarkably in Manhattan now, 6-0 on the season. You're going to have Oklahoma State and Bedlam. I think that's going to be the defining game and defining mark. And without a Big 12 championship game, almost a de facto possibility semifinal national championship game.
Sims stood up, 4th down coming, and Kansas still has not moved the chains in the second half. So the Oklahoma defense, which was so stiff against Texas a week ago, 8 sacks, 3 defensive touchdowns, shutting down Texas offensively. That's the defense that showed up in the second half. Venables and the OU defense trying to get a stop here on 4th down and short. For a false start on the offense on 4th and short.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 7 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Turner Gill wanted to go for it on 4th and short. Look at that, 20 yards of offense in the second half for Kansas.
Very different mindset from Oklahoma. They committed a few more defenders around the line of scrimmage. They asked Kansas to win one-on-one. Jordan Webb unable to do that on some 3rd down occasions.
Timeout Kansas, 8:28 to go. Bob Stoops and the Oklahoma Sooners have a 40-17 lead here on Kansas in the 4th. 8:28 to go. So closing in on 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12.
KU going to go for it here on 4th down.
Out of the timeout. Turner Gill says even after the false start, 4th down and 6, we're going for it. Empty backfield. Jordan Webb releases, bobbled and nearly intercepted. All sorts of OU defenders around that play as Webb took a big pop. Travis Lewis applied the pressure on Jordan Webb. So that OU defense stiffens and still no first downs.
Yeah, you feel that one tomorrow. You wake up and you wonder why your neck is a little stiff. You can't quite look right and left. And then you watch the film and go, yeah, 28. 28 made me real sore.
You sound like speaking from experience there, Brock Ewart.
Good thing is, at least with this field turf, you don't have that old school turf burn that you'd wake up to, stuck to the sheets as well.
Stuck to the sheets? That's the kind of insight Brock Ewart's going to bring you, folks. Whaley picks up a couple on first. So here are some of the games that we came up with, BCS impact games. Lower right, the Bedlam game turns into a de facto BCS championship, Big 12 championship. I shouldn't say BCS, Big 12 championship there, potentially between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
Really Wisconsin's biggest test left next weekend against the Michigan State team that's going to play the best defense the Badgers have faced.
Jones intercepted on second down. Steven Johnson picks it off. More takeaways by the Kansas defense in this game against Oklahoma than they had in the previous 5.
Steve Johnson hasn't quit. He was a neat kid to sit down and talk with yesterday. A former walk-on, really had only 2 offers to Division I AA schools. He said Kansas was initially interested. He got hurt in prep school, and he said, well, I don't want to say I begged, but I pretty much begged to come to Lawrence and walk on. He's earned a scholarship, become a captain. Said this group's not quitting. But defensively, as bad as they had been through the first 5 games, statistically the worst in college football, there was still some want-to.
Webb sacked by Corey Nelson.
There's some want-to on defense, but there's a lot left to be desired offensively here for Kansas in the second half. And I'm sitting here watching, trying to figure out, is this Oklahoma playing that much better in the second half, or Kansas just self-destructing here in the second? I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. You've seen a different effort. You've seen more vicious, violent hits by Oklahoma defensively. And you continue to just, unfortunately for Jordan Webb, just to see some misfires. Whenever he's had someone in his face, he's had a really hard time trying to connect on the other end. And you can see, I think, that body language. Maybe Turner Gill, maybe the most eternally optimistic coach in the FBS.
Second year, well, he did it at Buffalo. That Buffalo program, first winning season in 12 years when he took them the MAC title. Jordan Webb flings it long on 3rd and 15, incomplete. 4th down coming up. And Jordan Webb is upset with his play in the second half, because Kansas had their chance to get back in this game as the defense held OU time and time again, held them out of the end zone other than the Broyles touchdown. Only 1 touchdown for Oklahoma in this second half, and yet Kansas inability to move the football. No first down still in the second half for Kansas has allowed Oklahoma to pull away. Brody punts the Broyles again. Backing all the way up to the 27. Ryan Broyles. Now Broyles in the punt return game. A chance for another explosive one. Inside the 40, Doherty helps make the stop. 35-yard return for Broyles. Well, when you talk about the top quarterback wide receiver duos in college football, Landry Jones, Ryan Broyles, then in Stillwater, Weed and Blackman, Robert Griffin and Kendall Wright. About Case Keenum and Patrick Edwards and the terrific comeback story from injury for Patrick Edwards, and Barkley and Woods at USC. Think that about covers it?
I think he can win with those 5 tandems.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Probably the right decision to see Ryan Broyles out of the game after that punt return. I'd be surprised if we're going to see Landry Jones put too much more risk of contact. If I'm coaching, I've seen enough. This game's in hand. I run the ball. Maybe even look to get my backup quarterback some opportunities.
Whaley on first down makes it another first down to the 25. Dominique Whaley now with 148 rushing yards in the game on 27 carries. Both of those are career highs. This is his first year playing for Oklahoma. And again, he would not only from NAIA Langston University, he was a backup at Langston University, which a lot of people scratch their heads at that. but lightly recruited out of high school. 27 first downs in the game now for Oklahoma, 8 for Kansas, none in the second half. Whaley's going to get it again and pound it inside the 20. Brock, what's the biggest difference, you think, from Oklahoma first half, Oklahoma second half?
Well, it was those big plays that Kansas was able to find. The 4th and 1, 57-yarder. There was a busted play. It was the scramble on 3rd down. And hit the guy you're not even throwing to. So for Oklahoma, just continuing to tighten down those fundamentals defensively. Say, okay, we're going to play sound. We're not going to blitz you. We're better than you, and they certainly have been in 7 consecutive possessions defensively. And then here offensively, an opportunity now, once again, in this red zone to come out of Lawrence with a positive taste in your mouth. When you're playing A&M down the stretch here, and you're going to Baylor, and you're playing Oklahoma State, 2 of 6 scoring touchdowns isn't going to be good enough. It's not going to be good enough this season. Now, Brent Venables likes his defensive effort. A lot to build on there in this second half of complete dominance. If I'm Josh Heupel and I'm Landry Jones and I'm on this offense, well, I'd feel a lot better on this trip home if we can find a way to get this ball into the end zone.
And again, 3 turnovers by the Oklahoma offense tonight. Didn't appear to get that one off. Delay a game.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Oh, we have a second on Landry Jones. Last year we talked to Bob Stoops about Artesia, New Mexico. Bob Stoops told us one of the best practices he's ever seen by Artesian High School head coach Cooper Henderson there in southeastern New Mexico. I just bring that up because that is an amazing statement from a guy who's been around an awful lot of good football practices and seen a lot of elite high school programs all around the country.
And our esteemed colleague Mike Bellotti, who was with us last year, said the same thing, flying in there and watching their operation. You can see the techniques and fundamentals paid off for Landry.
Jones throwing on 3rd down, complete. Trent Rattery, the former walk-on from Weatherford, Oklahoma, takes it inside the 10. So Oklahoma will get some late practice on putting it in the red zone, as you said, Brock. Just one of those areas of concern. When you're talking about a number 3 next to your name for Oklahoma, you're talking about your 11th straight win going to 6-0 on the year. So these are just the things that the Sooners need to work on to be a championship caliber
and these
team.
are valuable reps. I mean, these are better than anything you're going to get in practice. I don't see Oklahoma losing at home this season. They've won 39 straight there in Norman. I don't see a foe on the schedule that's going to beat them. But these reps and that opportunity to score a touchdown could very much benefit you when you go on the road to Manhattan, to Waco, or to Bedlam to end the season.
Dominique Whaley into the end zone. 165 yards now and a touchdown for the junior from Lawton. Oklahoma pulling away in the second half from Kansas. Michael Honeycutt, freshman kicker, on for the PAT. 47-17, Oklahoma on Kansas now with 3:53 to go in the 4th. But, you know, Bob Stoops, the championship in 2000, they played for the national championship 3 other times. Says when you get to that level, playing for the national championship, there are things in the season you say, okay, this is where we need to work. This is where we have to get better. It's not a perfectly formed team right out of the chute very often anywhere in college football. So it's identifying those types of things, Brock, to try and get Oklahoma back to the championship level.
That's exactly right. It's a building process. And Dominique Whaley is going to be an important piece here down the stretch, as he's been this season, as the Sooners' leading rusher. They're not terribly complicated, especially in their run game. That's a stretch zone play where they get those big athletes up front moving. You get your running back to plant that foot, go downhill. Don't come away from this game tonight, yeah, maybe a little disappointed in the execution for Oklahoma. The 3 turnovers, some of the red zone struggles. I still think Oklahoma and Oklahoma State very much the class of this Big 12 conference.
Squib kick returned to about the 35 by Ed Fink from Belleville, Illinois. 9 hours away from Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM. So just put a pot of coffee on and spend your morning with Boomer and the guys. Meadowlands, big one between the Bills and Giants. ESPN Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Nearing 1 a.m. Eastern Time right now. Kansas trying to get a first down in the second half. Jordan Webb and the Kansas offense have yet to move the chains. Tracked down and sacked by Corey Nelson.
There have been some bigger Oklahoma teams, as Chuck Long said. But watching the film and watching these guys live, and especially the disposition in the second half, this may be one of the fastest defenses that Oklahoma's ever had, and it rivals there with some of those SEC defenses. This is not in the class, I don't think, of an Alabama and an LSU, which are truly special. And there we go, our first down of the second half.
Number 81, Marquise Jackson.
The people, the Tigers, the Crimson Tide, they're not going to be running away from Oklahoma if they can find themselves back in that championship game.
Visit with Bob Stoops this week after his brother Mike Stoops let go as the head coach at Arizona. We spent a lot of time around Mike Stoops the last couple of years. Clearly elevated that Arizona program, put them back on a winning path. 3 straight 8-win seasons. Jordan Webb will take the sack. There's Corey Nelson after him again. Excellent piece a couple of weeks ago about the Stoops coaching family from Youngstown, Ohio, and how close and how intense and how passionate the Stoops family is when it comes to coaching. That's tough when you see Mike's time in Arizona end like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But they know the nature of the business, unfortunately, with the injuries and the schedule and everything. It was the perfect storm, unfortunately, for Arizona. We have seen them, and I will tell you, Mike left it in a better place than he found it. And as Bob said to us pregame, he feels good about that, knowing he invested everything he could. Didn't work out. Ultimately, they couldn't take that next step. There's a lot more pieces in place for the next Wildcat coach.
Nelson, after that big sack, comes away nicked.
You had the conversation there just a minute ago. Offensively, you took Ryan Broyles out of the game. You really asked Landry Jones just to hand the ball off. And you still see Travis Lewis, Corey Nelson, one of the vital contributors. And I'll tell you, it's almost a trend that we're finding in college football, right? Chip Kelly's unapologetic about it. He doesn't care. If you can't keep up, I'm going to get my players the reps. I'm going to give them the opportunities, and this is the risk you take.
But I mean, what about the risk of injury late in a game that's a 30-point game right now with 2:02 to go?
Well, it's absolutely a risk. You know, Bob Stoops willing to take it in that situation, and, you know, he's going to pay the price, unfortunately, if this is a serious injury to Corey Nelson. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I think there's value to get your backups into the game, to give them these reps and these opportunities. You know, Bob knows his players much better than I do. He has a definitive plan, and he's willing to take that risk. It would be more than I would be willing to take as a head coach.
Third down and very long. Webb will be sacked again. This time it's R.J. Washington, the junior from Fort Worth, who gets to him. 5 sacks now for this Oklahoma defense. That's 13 sacks in the last 2 weeks by the OUD.
Third in America coming in. Not going to hurt themselves in that ranking.
So Oklahoma will have a chance to run the football, run out the clock, and get away from Lawrence. In the second half, that's amazing. 11 yards of offense in the second half for Kansas team. And remember, coming into this game, it was Kansas offense that was doing its part. Kansas defense just bobbles that one and falls on it. inside the 20.
And we even looked at the halftime stats. 168 rushing yards against Bob Stoops Sooners, and I'm sure there was a fairly stern conversation at halftime with that Oklahoma defense to tighten the screws, and they did. And what stands out is obviously the speed, the contact, but it was just a commitment to tackle. It was a commitment to not give up those big plays. And for Turner Gill, they just could not stop that negative momentum offensively, just unable on many of those third downs to make the play that you thought, wow, maybe that could give us a little boost, give us a little energy. Just could not get anything going in this second half.
Drew Allen, the backup quarterback, now into the game for Oklahoma. So Landry Jones not out there for the final snaps. This is Brandon Williams, the true freshman running back for Oklahoma. He's a talented player, as you can see. He goes sprinting across the 35. And a fumble versus Texas. Bob Stoops said his carries are going to go down, but.
And sadly for Kansas, a valiant effort for many series defensively. Stopped them in the red zone, did what you had to do. But you're going to give up 47 points again, over 600 yards of offense from the Sooners now.
Well, as they say in the paper tomorrow, this will look like Oklahoma dominance in Lawrence. The first half, tight one there.
Stopped by number 19, Isaiah Barfield.
This was a 10-point game at the half, and Kansas had slowed Oklahoma, but the Sooners explode in the second half. A stellar defensive effort in the second half for Oklahoma. And the Sooners win their 11th straight, going to 6-0 on the season, 3-0 in Big 12 play. Kansas now 0-3 in the league.
A real tip of the cap to Ryan Broyles. You witnessed history tonight, always a special thing. Ryan sets the all-time record for receptions and shatters it and does it in convincing manner.
And a career-high 217 receiving yards for Ryan Broyles. Oklahoma wins it in Lawrence 47-17 over Kansas. Coming up next, NHRA Arizona Nationals qualifying. For Brock Hewitt and our entire crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Oklahoma runs its winning streak to 11 straight games, pulling away in Lawrence.